change that you crave. Facts still matter. It starts with you. Facts still matter. It starts with you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. It's primary day, 8 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to talk about that in just a minute because it's a big day. Y'all know the drill. Tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. Thank you for helping us out with the gifting goal today. Please consider joining our team, to do that every single day. It's the script. I can record this, but it's better to do it live. You know the drill. Again, tapping, clapping, liking, loving, sharing, caring. Join the team. We are still continuing to crowdfund for our Do Something tour. We'll talk about that a little bit more today as well. Maybe today's the day. Maybe we'll hit 5K. So any contribution, never expected, always appreciated. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, they're all at Factsstillmatter. Streaming on YouTube, streaming on Twitch. Thank you guys very much. We might be adjusting some settings on YT just because of a lot of inundation with ads, but we're working on that. Please, we have a crack team on it, as they say. Please head on over to the link tree that's in my bio. You can please join our Discord. You'll find that there. Also, some great items in the merch store, especially if you're getting into spring and you're going to be going to events. Why not rep? There's a lot of really great items in there. Girl Dad, Traitor to the Patriarchy, Do Something, If Not Us, Who, If Not Now, When, and, again, great way to support us here. And also, if you'd like to, don yourself with some new merch come springtime. Also, in the link tree in the bio, you can find all kinds of resources to other events. There's links to indivisible organizations across the country that are organizing to help support voter activism. So yeah, a lot to do today, a lot to cover today. We'll touch on the situation in the Middle East because we have to, but we are still committed here to exposing the truth. Day 74 of the Trump administration breaking the federal law by not releasing all the Epstein files. We're going to play some of the testimony. The depositions have been released from former President Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. We're going to focus a lot on Hillary's testimony just because of some interesting moments, to say the least. So again, thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you very much. I want to just, again, real quick, it is primary day, like I mentioned, in three states in particular. Actually, let me just do one thing. It's interesting because it's town meeting day in Vermont today, which is a history that goes back actually before Vermont was a state, when we were still the Republic, and I'll be attending a little bit later. I submitted a speech request just because in my town we got an interesting vote has to do with the school budget, and I'm going to be voting against it because it's not enough. We were promised a couple of different things last year, and we didn't get that. So I'm going to be pushing on that a little bit. So I will be a thorn in the side. I've submitted for press credentials, so I will see. Maybe I'll make some good content. Who knows? But I'll be attending that later. And for those of you who don't know, I've told this story before. There's pie. When you go to our town meeting today, it becomes this thing in our town where lots of people bring pie, and I'm hoping for some coconut cream. So I'll let you know. I'll report on that a little bit later. Anyway. Across the country today, three big states that we're keeping our eyes on: Arkansas, North Carolina, and Texas. In North Carolina, in Arkansas, it's a statewide primary for the U.S. Senate, also for the House and for state offices and other races. North Carolina, primary elections for the U.S. Senate, also U.S. House, state legislature, and other offices, and in Texas. So in Arkansas, Tom Cotton is the incumbent seeking renomination. There's a couple of Republican challengers. Then on the Democratic side, it's Ethan Dunbar, who's the mayor of Louisville, and Hallie Schaffner, who's a farmer and a business owner. So in Arkansas, do you have a plan? What are you doing today? Do you have a ride to the polls? Have you voted already? Please keep that in mind. There are contested primaries for Arkansas's 4 congressional seats. These include incumbent Republicans defending their seats and Democratic challengers. Specific candidates lists for each district are available from state election records. So you can go to the ushouse.gov. You can also go to your state Secretary of State's office. You can get more information. In North Carolina, Roy Cooper, former governor, he's the leading Democratic contender for the open seat. Tom Tillis, as you know, has resigned or is retiring, not running for re-election. And then Michael Whatley is a Republican, former Republican National Committee chair and Republican nominee leader who's been endorsed by the president. Several contested races in House seats as well. North Carolina's 1st, which is the Republican district, Asa Buck, Lori Buckhout, Robert Hanig, Eric Rouse, and Ashley Nicole Russell. North Carolina's 4th district, which has been Democratic, Valerie Foushee is the incumbent, Nita Alam, Durham commissioner, and Mary Patterson. And then North Carolina's 6th district, Cyril Jefferson, Alyssa Cassie, and Addison McDowell. There's also other districts, North Carolina's 7th, North Carolina's 8th, North Carolina 9, with both parties contending for those seats. And then in Texas, Republican primary for Senate, John Cornyn, the incumbent, Ken Paxton, Texas Attorney General, and then prominent MAGA-aligned contender, as we know, and Wesley Hunt, who is a U.S. rep, though they're vying for the Republican nomination. So I think the president has not yet endorsed a candidate. If last I checked, I couldn't find one. Has not yet endorsed a Republican candidate. Now, listen, the Trump endorsement does not carry the weight that it used to carry. That's for sure. So maybe none of these candidates potentially want that endorsement. Not when the president's approval rating is in the 30s. We'll see. And then on the Democratic side, U.S. Rep. Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico, who is also a state representative. Here's the thing. There's a lot of money that has been raised. Now, these candidates are different. And like I've been saying for weeks now, campaign, door knock, whatever that might be. Thank you, Swishy Raiders. Hearts to the chat for the Swishy Raiders. Whomever it might be on the Democratic side. And I've seen James Tallarico go out with the messaging that says if he doesn't get the nomination, he will encourage his supporters and followers and voters to vote for Jasmine Crockett. I'm assuming she'll probably do the same thing. This is an interesting race. This is a really, really interesting race. This is going to tell us a lot. We're going to be watching the Dallas-Houston area results for Jasmine Crockett. That's kind of her hub. We'll be watching the Austin area in surrounds for James Tallarico, and may the best candidate win. But Texas, you've been showing up early, so I hope that continues. And the U.S. House is Texas has many contested U.S. House primaries. A few notable examples include Texas 21, multiple Republican candidates, including high-profile entrants like Mark Teixeira. He has been endorsed by President Trump, former baseball player. Tony Gonzalez, this is an interesting one. Obviously, who do I like? I want Jasmine Crockett in the Senate. Somebody just asked that. I think they're just different candidates. They're just different. I think they would honorably and proudly and distinguishedly, represent Texas. I want Jasmine Crockett in the Senate. I'm concerned for some obvious reasons as to whether Texas can get her across the finish line. That'd be my vote. But I think they're both great. They're just different. James Tallarico is a little bit, it's a bit too moderate for me. But again, this is about harm reduction. I wouldn't even put him as harm reduction. I think he's a great candidate. I think he's got the ability to kind of connect many, many sides of many different issues. I think his religious background is popular, gives him an opportunity to have conversations. I think Jasmine Crockett is the kind of person that I want in the Senate. Absolutely brilliant. I'm just imagining her in Senate Judiciary hearings, grilling Pam Bondi and grilling Kristi Noem if we win the Senate, those kinds of things. So that's who I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for her, but I will take either. I don't vote in Texas. I've donated to both of their campaigns. So again, may the best candidate win. Tony Gonzalez, as you know by now, under a lot of scrutiny because of the situation with a former staffer whom he was having an affair with, and then she took her own life. And there's been pressure on him to resign. Of course, Mike Johnson's tried to protect him because he knows if he resigns before his term's up, then he's going to lose the majority, which could still happen. You're hearing more and more names about people stepping aside, stepping down, stepping away. We'll see. And then the last one will be Mayra Flores. She's also running. So again, to summarize, in Arkansas, Tom Cotton, Ethan Dunbar, Hallie Schaffner on the Senate side. North Carolina, Roy Cooper, Michael Whatley, and then in Texas, John Cornyn, Ken Paxton, Wesley Hunt, Jasmine Crockett, James Tallarico. Primaries across the board. A lot of states may not necessarily have primaries today, but our state is, all the schools are closed because you use school buildings and things like that. But I'll report back on the pie once I get over there. So it's a big day. Hopefully people are just, engaged. That's all I can ask for. That's what, again, like I've said from the start, this entire Do Something tour is voter activism and voter activation. I'm willing to accept the results if more people vote. That's what I want. Obviously, I want people to vote for progressives, down ballot progressives in particular, get more progressives elected in state houses, state legislatures, governors' mansions, et cetera, et cetera. I believe that feeds up to the system, and that's how we make change. But it's a big day. This is it, friends. We're in it. It starts now, and then the primary season kicks off today, and then over the course of the next many months, usually every Tuesday, we'll be reporting back. So pay attention. Hope you're prepared. Hope you have your game plan. And again, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. All right. So we'll touch on the situation in the Middle East because we're getting more and more information that this entire thing was directed by isn't real. I want to be careful how we engage today. As you know, we got taken down yesterday, but we won the appeal about a half an hour later. So thank you guys for coming back and following us on the backup. But it seems more and more that this was not at the direction of the United States military because there was no imminent threat. What it looks like from the reporting that members of Congress were briefed that the Pentagon decided to just tag along with the timeline set down by Bibi. The administration, let's see, let me give you the story. This has been reported by Politico. Trump administration is making the case that it ordered expansive deadly strikes to stop an imminent threat from Tehran, but is providing no evidence Iran had such plans. The White House, amid the largest military buildup in the region in decades, has yet to explain to the public or to Congress what Iranian threat prompted the massive attacks that upended the region and could draw the U.S. into another Middle Eastern conflict. We'll call it a war. The administration first tested out its justification more than 12 hours after the U.S. began bombarding Iran with missiles, drones, and long-range artillery. A senior Trump administration official told reporters on Saturday that the U.S. had determined American troops would have suffered far more casualties by waiting for an impending Iranian strike. In the same briefing, two other officials said the president ordered the strikes after he determined Iran would not agree to stop uranium enrichment altogether. So this is the problem, right? They're all over the map. There's reporting from, let me see if I can find it here. Is this it? And then we're going to get into our daily, hang on one sec. I'm going to find it. The Times of Israel has an interesting report. They are reporting, and by the way, running it through the media bias fact check, the Times of Israel is very accurate. They do lean left, but they're very accurate in their reporting. But it looks like Marco Rubio cites the planned Israeli government attack as a key reason U.S. launched strikes against Iran. The top diplomat says U.S. understood its assets would be hit by Iran in retaliation for preemptive Israeli strikes, though Jerusalem seen as unlikely to have acted without Trump's blessing. So here we are, right? The two war criminals. The United States has not been able to, the U.S. administration has not been able to confirm and or inform Congress or us the reasons why we did this. So there's some reporting now that it's because the I country had their timeline set and the administration said, well, we'll just piggyback on them. So we put ourselves in harm's way again. Six service members have lost their lives. Hundreds of civilians have lost their lives. 200 children and teachers and school and care workers at schools have lost their lives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because the I country said, hey, we're going to do this now. We need your help. And we're like, okay. Yeah, there's that. So we'll continue to follow that story. Obviously, we'll probably get breaking news over the course of the day today, but it's pretty disturbing that that's the reason. Of course, there's obviously no evidence of any further enrichment other than, what we've been told, what we've been lied to about. So Mark Wayne Mullen, who's not the brightest bulb on the tree. Sorry, Oklahoma. Well, it tracks considering Oklahoma has its last, there's a flash goal. Hold on a second. There we go. Help us out with that flash goal. Oklahoma ranks dead last in education. So we know that. So Mark Wayne Mullen has been one of the people, he's been a little bit more prominent lately, trying to get his name out there a little bit more. He was talking to Caitlin Collins about justification. Here you go.
Right.
We're not going to let that happen.
If we obliterated it, we being the United States last summer, then why are you worried about it right now?
Because they're rebuilding it, and you can see them rebuilding it.
But it was obliterated.
Well, but it doesn't mean you can't rebuild. I mean, people have car accidents and obliterate their bones and their legs, and yet they can still put they can still put metal back in them and walk again.
What? But I think if it was obliterated in June, how is it February, and we're now, as Steve Witkoff put it, a week away from Iran having this?
I don't know. I can't speak for Steve. I haven't got those reports, and I've been read in on some of these programs, and so I don't know what Steve was looking at. I don't say he's wrong or right. What? I just haven't seen those reports. I do know that.
On that, and secondly, on Iran, while you're here, can you explain to the American people why the United States would need to strike Iran to stop them from getting a nuclear weapon if the United States obliterated their enrichment program last summer?
Well, I'm not going to make any news on Iran today, Caitlin. I'll let the president make those announcements. As you know, he is sending 2 of his best negotiators to Geneva tomorrow in order to continue to try to strike the best deal possible for the American people. But the principle is very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they try to rebuild a nuclear weapon, that causes problems for us. And in fact, we've seen evidence that they have tried to do exactly that. So the president sending those negotiators to try to address that problem, as the president has said repeatedly, he wants to address that problem diplomatically. But of course, the president has other options as well.
So, according to Mark Wayne Mullen, well, if you obliterate your leg, you can put metal in it. So, this is what happens when you have incompetent, malignant narcissists in charge of your government who are looking to distract from the obvious. Yeah, I said it. All right, so I do want to shift gears a little bit, and as I said, what we're going to be doing over the course of this month, every day, we're going to be recognizing a woman from history. And today it's going to be Alice Augusta Ball, because March is Women's History Month. Alice Augusta Ball, born July 24th, 1892, died December the 31st, 1916, was an African-American chemist whose groundbreaking work produced the first effective treatment for Hansen's disease, better known as leprosy. She was born in Seattle, Washington, to James Presley Ball Jr. and Laura Louise Ball. Her father was a photographer, journalist, and lawyer, while her mom left a photography career to raise the family. Ball excelled academically, graduating from Seattle High School with strong interests in science. She continued her education at the University of Washington, earning a pharmaceutical chemistry degree in 1912, and as a bachelor's degree in pharmacy in 1914. During her studies, she co-authored a research paper on benzolation reactions published in the Journal of the American Chemical Society, making her one of the first African-American women to publish in a major scientific journal. Ball earned a scholarship to the College of Hawaii, now the University of Hawaii, where she completed a master's degree in chemistry in 1915, becoming the first woman and first African-American to achieve the degree, and was subsequently appointed as the college's first female chemistry instructor. While working in Hawaii, Ball was approached by Dr. Henry T. Hallman of the Leprosy Investigation Station, who sought help improving the therapeutic use of calmugra oil, a traditionally but highly ineffective treatment for leprosy. The disease carried a severe stigma, with patients often being forcibly isolated in remote settlements with horrible conditions. Though the oil had shown potential for centuries, its extreme viscosity and poor absorption made it nearly impossible to administer effectively. Ingested doses caused nausea and vomiting, while injectable forms caused painful lesions under the sun. Ball's critical innovation was developing a method to chemically modify the oil's fatty acid into ethyl esters, making the compound water-soluble and suitable for injection. This process, later called the Ball method, allowed the drug to be absorbed into the bloodstream safely and efficiently, overcoming the problems that had prevented earlier use. By 1920, health authorities in Hawaii reported that many patients who received the Ball method were able to return home rather than remain in lifelong quarantine. For more than 2 decades, the Ball method was the standard treatment for leprosy worldwide. Ball died unexpectedly in 1916 at the age of 24 before she could publish her findings. After her death, others took credit for her work, and later scholarship and institutional recognition restored her legacy. Today, the Ball method itself is medically obsolete, replaced by modern multi-drug therapy. However, the technique marked a turning point between early botanical medicine and modern pharmaceutical chemistry and remains historically significant. Though her life was brief, her innovation dramatically changed medical outcomes and restored dignity and hope to thousands of patients worldwide. Alice Ball, as we honor women of history. Cool story. I learned about her. She's pretty awesome. 24 years old. And of course, she dies and they try to erase her name from the history, but there you go. Okay, so what I want to do today is we're going to go, obviously, exactly. Thank you, Alice. Hearts of the chat for Alice Ball. Today, we're going to get back into the Jeffrey files, the Trump files that Jeffrey Epstein's name happens to be in, because it's day 74 of the Trump administration breaking the federal law. We're going to cover Hillary Clinton's testimony, Bill Clinton's testimony, and we've got some more contradictions. And that's been the kind of a focus of mine about contradicting and blowing up the timelines as they've been shared to us by the president. Yeah, I do have a daughter, proud girl dad. Thanks for asking. So let's start first with Hillary Clinton's testimony, because it was her opening statement, I think, is really powerful. It's about 9 minutes long. I'm going to let her speak. And I think what we're going to get from this, you're going to get a really interesting. Let me back up a second. Hillary Clinton, a woman being asked to testify about crimes committed by men against children, those people who've alleged to commit those crimes are not the ones being deposed. Interesting. Okay, here is her opening statement, and go Queen.
Mr. Chairman, ranking member, members of the committee, as a former United States senator, I have respect for legislative oversight, and I expect its exercise, as do the American people, to be principled and fearless in pursuit of truth and accountability. As we all know, however, too often congressional investigations are partisan political theater, which is an abdication of duty and an insult to the American people. This committee justified its subpoena to me based on its assumption that I have information regarding the investigations into the criminal activities of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Let me be as clear as I can. I do not. As I stated in my sworn declaration on January 13th, I had no idea about their criminal activities. I do not recall ever encountering Mr. Epstein. I never flew on his plane or visited his island, homes, or offices. I have nothing to add to that. Like every decent person, I've been horrified by what we have learned about their crimes. It's unfathomable that Mr. Epstein initially got a slap on the wrist in 2008, which allowed him to continue his predatory practices for another decade. Mr. Chairman, your investigation is supposed to be assessing the federal government's handling of the investigations and prosecutions of Epstein and his crimes.
We are listening to Hillary Clinton's opening statement from her deposition last week.
You subpoenaed 8 law enforcement officials, all of whom ran the Department of Justice or directed the FBI when Epstein's crimes were investigated and prosecuted. Of those 8, only 1 appeared before the committee. 5 of the 6 former attorneys general were allowed to submit brief statements stating they had no information to provide. You have held 0 public hearings, refused to allow the media to attend them, including today, despite espousing the need for transparency on dozens of occasions. You have made little effort to call the people who show up most prominently in the Epstein files. And when you did, not a single Republican member showed up for Les Wexner's deposition. This institutional failure is designed to protect one political party and one public official, rather than to seek truth and justice for the victims and survivors, as well as inform the public who want to get to the bottom of this matter. My heart breaks for the survivors, and I am furious on their behalf. I have spent my life advocating for women and girls. I have worked hard to stop the terrible abuses so many women and girls face here and around the world, including human trafficking, forced labor, domestic violence, and sexual slavery. For too long, these have been largely invisible crimes or not treated as crimes at all. But the survivors are real and they are entitled to justice. In Southeast Asia, I met girls as young as 12 years old who had been forced into prostitution and raped repeatedly. Some were dying of AIDS. In Eastern Europe, I met mothers who told me how they lost their daughters to trafficking and did not know where to turn. In settings around the world, I met survivors trying to rebuild their lives and help rescue others with little support from people in power who too often turned a blind eye and a cold shoulder. If you are new to this issue, let me tell you, Jeffrey Epstein was a heinous individual, but he's far from alone. This is not a one-off tabloid sensation or political scandal. It is a global scourge with an unimaginable human toll. My work combating sex trafficking goes back to my days as First Lady. I worked to pass the first federal legislation against trafficking and was proud that my husband signed the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, which increased support for survivors and gave prosecutors better tools for going after traffickers. As Secretary of State, I appointed a former federal prosecutor, Lucy DeBaca, to ramp up our global anti-trafficking efforts. I oversaw nearly 170 anti-trafficking programs in 70 nations and directly pressed foreign leaders to crack down on trafficking networks in their countries. Every year, we published a global report to shine a light on abuses. The findings of those reports triggered sanctions on countries failing to make progress, so they became a powerful diplomatic tool to drive concrete action. I insisted that the United States be included in the report for the first time ever in 2011, because we must hold ourselves not just to the same standard as the rest of the world, but to an even higher one. Sex trafficking and modern slavery should have no place in America. None. Infuriatingly, the Trump administration gutted the Trafficking in Persons Office at the State Department, cutting more than 70% of the career civil and foreign service experts who worked so hard to prevent trafficking crimes. The annual trafficking report required by law was delayed for months. The message from the Trump administration to the American people and the world could not be clearer. Combating human trafficking is no longer an American priority under the Trump White House. That's a tragedy, it's a scandal, and it deserves vigorous investigation and oversight. A committee endeavoring to stopping human trafficking would seek to understand what specific steps are needed to fix a legal system that allowed Epstein to get away with his crimes. A committee run by elected officials with a commitment to transparency would ensure the full release of all the files. It would ensure that the lawful redactions of those files protected the victims and survivors, not powerful men and political allies. It would get to the bottom of reports that DOJ withheld FBI interviews in which a survivor accuses President Trump of crimes. It would subpoena anyone who asked on which night there would be the wildest party on Epstein's island. It would demand testimony from prosecutors from Florida, New York, and the Department of Justice about why they gave Epstein a sweetheart deal and chose not to pursue others who may have been implicated in his crimes. And it would demand that Secretary Rubio and Attorney General Bondi testify about why this administration is abandoning survivors and playing into the hands of traffickers. It would seek out advocates and law enforcement officials on the front lines of the fight against human trafficking and ask them what support they need. And it would put forth legislation to provide more resources and force this administration to act. But that's not happening. Instead, you have compelled me to testify, fully aware that I have no knowledge that would assist your investigation in order to distract from President Trump's actions and to cover them up despite legitimate calls for answers. If this committee is serious about learning the truth about Epstein's trafficking crimes, it would not rely on press gaggles to get answers from our current president on his involvement. It would ask him directly under oath about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files. If the majority was serious, it would not waste time on fishing expeditions. There is too much to be done. What is being held back? Who is being protected? And why the cover-up? So my challenge to you, Mr. Chairman, and members of this committee is the same challenge I put to myself throughout my long service to this nation. How to be worthy of the trust of the American people that they have given to you. They expect statesmanship, not gamesmanship, leading, not grandstanding. And they expect you to use your power to get to the truth and to do more to help survivors of Epstein's crimes, as well as the millions more who are victims of sex trafficking in this country and around the world. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I would also like to request that the video of this deposition be made available within 24 hours, as it has been for other witnesses.
Well, she went there. She certainly did. She went there. You know, Hillary Clinton is going to be one of those figures that, very controversial history, right? In 2016, I proudly voted for her. Politically, I don't agree with everything. Too moderate for me. Part of the same old. But I proudly voted for her as a Bernie supporter. I campaigned for Bernie, raised money for Bernie when the time came. He didn't get the nomination. It was Hillary, and it was obvious, and it was a proud choice to make. And this is how you can critically think, right? You navigate through the primary season, you identify candidates who you like, and then when the time comes, you focus on harm reduction. I think she would have been an exceptional president, no doubt about it. You just heard her. You just heard her. So that's her opening statement. Things got interesting over the course of the day. Remember, this was a closed door testimony, right? This was political theater. There's two things in play before we get too much further down the road. What I don't think the GOP realizes now is that they have created precedent. So now a former first lady and a former president. This is the first time this has happened. This is historic shit that we're talking about here, right? They've set the precedent that now there is no way under the conditions that have been established and then confirmed as of last week, a congressional subpoena to a former first lady, or in this case, even a former secretary of state, but in this capacity, first lady, and a former president being held accountable for a congressional subpoena. So looking ahead, when the time comes, if the current president survives long enough with his blood issues, his coronary issues, and now it looks like shingles on his neck, whatever else it might be, there's no justification for him denying a president or a congressional subpoena. So there's that. The hearing got heated for obvious reasons. We're going to play Nancy Mace first. Nancy Mace, want to make sure that we can call this out. Nancy Mace is a survivor. Nancy Mace is a person who was one of the few early on, was one of the 4 names that co-sponsored the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Nancy Mace is also very controversial. Nancy Mace looks for the microphone, so she's engaged in this particular part of the conversation with Hillary Clinton. So you can, once you get past the overshouting, you can tell where this line of questioning is going. So I'll play that for you.
I know Howard Lutnick because when I was...
Before to start, they're asking her. This is the part that drives me fucking crazy. They're asking her about Howard Lutnick, Nutlick. Why the fuck is he not sitting there? Why are they asking her? Why are they asking the woman who's got nothing to do with any of these crimes against these girls? Why are they not demanding that he be there too? So they're asking her about someone else? This is how pitiful they are.
As senator, on 9/11, the firm he headed, Cantor Fitzgerald, suffered the greatest loss of life. As I recall, something like 650 of his employees were murdered by terrorists that day. Howard Lutnick missed being a victim because he was delayed dropping his child off to kindergarten. You asked the question. I'm going to answer your question.
Now you're going to yell
This
at
was
me?
what I spent
You're
my
going to yell at
time
me.
doing.
I'm a survivor
spent
trying to look out for other survivors, trying to
and
protect
I
them.
was taking care of
Waited
the
6
people
months
who
to
lost
get here today.
3,000
6 months,
lives
and now you're being
at World
defiant
Trade
and
Center.
indignant today.
You asked me
I have
about
met
Howard
with Epstein
Lutnick.
survivors. I'm a survivor myself. You have emails. You've denied that Jeffrey Epstein, that you tried to get Jeffrey Epstein to give money to you.
I did
but
not.
Howard Lutnick was
If you
used
have
to
an
get money.
email with me asking Jeffrey
I
Epstein
have
for
an
money,
email from Howard Lutnick sending it to Jeffrey Epstein and his people to raise money for
I don't
you
know about
for an event, an intimate event for you at his offices at Cantor Fitzgerald. You're
look,
going to sit
if
here
you-
today
if you would
and,
let me
and,
finish.
and obfuscate and say to this committee, you didn't try to get money from Jeffrey
I
Epstein
didn't.
when
I
there was
didn't.
an intimate event in an email that Howard Lutnick emailed to Epstein's people and Epstein to get him to come to your intimate event at Cantor Fitzgerald, a very small event. And so
She's being questioned, Hillary is, by Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace is the one who's yelling and trying to connect these dots that got nothing to do with Hillary, and Hillary is responding in a savage way, as you would expect.
I'm not going to put. You want to yell at me? That's fine, but I'll yell right back.
Well,
okay? I am looking out for
it's
survivors.
very-
I'm doing
look.
the job that you would not do and refuse to do as Secretary of State. Thank you, and I yield back to
no,
Congresswoman.
I'm going to finish answering the question, which I have a right to do. I am very sympathetic to your personal situation. I have read about it. I have seen you testify or speak on the floor about it. And I very much sympathize with not only what you went through, but appreciate your effort to stand up for survivors. I was a senator representing the people who were murdered on 9/11. Nobody lost more people than Howard Lutnick. You can say whatever you want. You can call him and have him appear before the committee.
Yeah, you could.
But I knew him as the man who lost the employees that he knew intimately, including his brother.
And he was
So I worked-
you and
Let
Jeffrey
her finish
Epstein
her
raising
answer,
money for
please.
you.
Let her finish her answer.
You know what? If you don't want to hear what emotionally affected me, that's fine. But that's why I know Howard Lutnick. I went to the memorial service every 9/11 after the formal service was held.
I see what you're
with
doing here.
all
Interesting exchange, right? I think what happened to Nancy Mace is horrible because I believe survivors. I think it's absolutely horrible. And she has advocated for survivors' rights, and she has advocated for voices of survivors to be heard. And I respect that. It doesn't change the fact that she's also said some despicably horrible things about marginalized communities, about the trans community in particular, dropping the T slur literally in the halls of Congress. So two things can be true. I can empathize and sympathize with the fact that she's a survivor, and I can also call her a despicable person because she is. So the fact that she's trying to pressure Hillary, this is why I can't fucking stand these hearings. I hate them. I just absolutely despise them because it becomes a show. The situation here, though, she's trying to connect the dots to Nutlick's involvement, and there is none. They know each other from her time as a senator. She was a senator during 9/11. Cantor Fitzgerald did lose the most employees. I could not find anything that contradicts that. It seems like they did lose the most employees at one fell swoop during that time. But Hillary's right. This is, if you want to hear my answer, then let me answer the question. And then there's one other moment that I really wanted to play for you guys. So you may have heard of the controversy of a photo that was leaked. So part of the deal that was made for this testimony was no press, it couldn't be aired live, no photographs, etc. Well, there was a moment, quite a moment.
fundraiser to support my friend Neil Lowy.
All right.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
This is one of Hillary's lawyers speaking now.
I have
There
another.
are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing. If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm
can
done
occur?
with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's
So I would like
sake.
to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was,
It doesn't
Excuse
matter.
me.
We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
will.
well,
I would like to
Too
take a
late.
break at this moment.
Yeah,
and I'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
So, Bobo did it. Then she had to own it. And then she tried to pull this bullshit, walking out saying, "Oh yeah, I had to go back to my hotel and bleach bit software and use it, take a hammer to my laptop, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." This is why people despise Congress. It's one of the reasons I do. If you're gonna have rules, don't forget the rules were mandated and dictated by the GOP majority. They're the ones that said you can't have a camera in the room, you can't take photographs. So the Clinton team is abiding by the rules, but Bobo decided, no, I'm gonna get some attention. Okay. Great. Good for you, Bobo. All right. We're gonna go to Bill Clinton's testimony now. I think Bill Clinton is lying, quite frankly. I think there's some interesting things that he said here that we're gonna cover. We're gonna unpack both, but I think he's lying. I think it's impossible for him to be in a position here with some of the denials. But I'm gonna play some of it for you right now because I believe he's lying. And like I've said here, I know this is objective for many people on the right who don't understand that you can criticize people, right? Because I'm not a servant to a political master. I will call it like I see it. And I know a lot of the weak ass beta bitch boys in the chat this morning be like, well, Clinton. We're like, yeah, you know what? Lock him the fuck up. Do you think any of us care? Lock him the fuck up. Okay? So let's go through it. This has to do with the Virginia Dufresne's diary in particular and notes that she took and even her family. So he's under oath. Remember that.
Receive a massage or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip.
You've seen the pictures. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub, a neck rub.
Okay.
And I think Shantae did it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you ever visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
We have Virginia Guffey, who has testified seeing you on the island with two young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay.
Moving on to Virginia Roberts Giuffre, are you familiar with her?
Mm-hmm.
As has already been established, she has stated in numerous sworn statements, including a sworn deposition in the Maxwell trial, that she saw you on the island with Jeffrey Epstein. And in fact, this morning, her family shared her diary with me. And in it is a quote wherein she writes, quote, Bill Clinton met 2 times island with 2 girls, CT, GM, and JE. What is your reaction to that?
It's not true.
Did you ever fly in a helicopter?
I'm going to pause right there. So you have a question to ask yourself. Are you going to believe someone who's already lied in his life one time to Congress about his inappropriate relationship with Monica Lewinsky? Or are you going to believe Virginia Dufresne? I'm going to believe Virginia 100 times out of 100 because I believe survivors. So I think Bill Clinton just lied under oath. Again, I do. I think he just lied under oath. That's what makes this testimony complicated because I'm going to play the other side as well because we're going to also poke holes into a bunch of other people that are lying. But I believe he is lying.
With Maxine, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ever, anywhere? I have no idea.
Okay. Well, at least one of the survivors claims that you flew in a helicopter with Ghislaine Maxwell to the island.
Did you ever?
Ben, I did not do that. I've never been to that island.
Okay.
My question, Mr. President, were you ever...
It's giving the I did not have sexual relations with that girl vibe to me. That's the first. I went back to that time when this was happening. That's the vibe that I'm getting from this.
Aware or engaged in any of these sexual orgies?
Are these on the island where he's testified that he's not been on the island?
I was never on the island.
Were you ever on any island in the Virgin Islands?
To travel for a trip with his wife, which is on the public record? I'm
with
sorry,
Jeffrey
what's your
Epstein?
question?
No.
You were never in the Virginia Islands?
Virgin Islands with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
Okay, thank you.
She characterized your relationship with her as warmer.
Yes.
Is that your question?
Would you agree with that?
Warmer than with Jeffrey Epstein?
Correct.
Oh, yes. But it was not in any way so.
It's for you to determine, friends. It's for you to determine. We have all along said, I don't care who's in there. I don't. I don't care who's in there. The issue that that we're all facing now is the unwillingness of the current administration, 74 days in violation of federal law, to not have the names of everyone involved connected. Simple question. Do you believe Virginia or do you not? It's really simple. I'm going to choose to believe her. And my fear is that she will not be remembered in history like she should. Her name gets connected to these kinds of things for a variety of reasons. One, because of the heinous crimes committed against her taking her own life, and the fact that she was probably the most prominent name that we got coming from all of this stuff from a survivor's perspective. She's famous because of what happened to her and what she stood for. I believe Virginia. So I believe that the former president of the United States is lying. We know in our country, at least, that men of prominence, especially white men of prominence, privilege, wealth, notoriety, fame, get away with shit. So do I think he's going to be held accountable for anything? I do not. I do not. So
did you have
the other side of this is more of this testimony. I'm going to play some more of this. Hold on.
Have sexual contact with any young woman or
trigger warnings. These are not graphic, but trigger warnings nonetheless.
Girl introduced to you by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein sexually abuse or assault young women or girls?
No.
Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein receive massages from young women or girls?
Not that I recall.
Did you ever have any sexual contact with young women or girls in the presence of Epstein or Maxwell?
No. Somehow knew I had flown in Jeffrey Epstein's aircraft, and he said, we had some great times together over the years, but
this is an interesting part that I want to play, that I want you guys to really pay attention to, because he's talking about a time when he and Trump had interaction. I'm just going to start this from the beginning again, and I want you to pay attention to this part because I've got some questions about the statements at the White House.
You by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein sexually abuse or assault young women or girls?
No.
Did you ever witness Mr. Epstein receive massages from young women or girls?
Not that I recall.
Did you ever have any sexual contact with young women or girls in the presence of Epstein or Maxwell?
No. Somehow knew I had flown in Jeffrey Epstein's aircraft, and he said, we had some great times together over the years, but we fell out, all because of a real estate deal. And he said, I'm sorry it happened.
She's been described on being on.
I want you to remember that, okay? So he said that they met at one of Trump's golf courses for an event. They talked. He said that that what Trump told him, the reason that their relationship ended was because of the real estate deal. Okay, that is a conversation I'm gonna unpack that. I went back and looked at my notes. I'm like, okay, we know there's multiple stories about how the relationship ended. So if the president is telling him that, right, at this public event, This is the problem with this testimony, right? Because I believe that he's lying in regards to his connections. And Sam just made an interesting point about how, I truly believe that Hillary and Bill love each other, but what kind of arrangement or agreement do they have in their marriage? Thanks for that note, Sam. You're right. I believe that. I believe that they love each other. I really do. I'm not going to judge. I'm not here to do that. But I do think it's interesting that this testimony, because I believe he's lying about his relationships and what he saw or what he was part of. So there's that. And then we've got the other side of these statements where he shares how he learned of the reason, or one of the reasons why the relationship between Trump and Epstein ended. So here's the rest of this.
A 2002 Africa trip and providing massages. Was she or any other young female on that trip underage at that time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did you ever receive a massage or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip?
You've seen the pictures. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub, a neck rub.
Okay.
And I think Shantae did it, but I'm not sure.
At least one of the survivors claims that you flew in a helicopter with Ghislaine Maxwell to the island.
Did you ever?
Then I did not do that. I've never been to that island.
So under oath in his deposition, in regards to the relationship with Epstein and Maxwell and Trump, he denied, this is Clinton, denied any sexual contact with underage girls. He denies witnessing Epstein abusing young women or girls. He denied visiting Epstein's island, and he denied flying there with Maxwell. He says he first learned of Epstein's criminal conduct in 2008. He acknowledges receiving a back rub during a 2002 Africa trip from a woman later identified as Epstein survivor Shantae Davies, stating he was unaware of her victim status at the time. Important context, Davies has publicly described Clinton as a perfect gentleman during the trip and said she observed no wrongdoing or creepy behavior from him. Clinton was also questioned about prior public statements describing his meetings with Epstein as, quote, brief. In light of documented flights, he testified that then Harvard President Larry Summers introduced him to Jeffrey Epstein, saying Epstein offered use of his massive airplane to support Clinton's planned AIDS relief trip in Africa. He accepts the official ruling that Epstein had died by suicide. He recounts a conversation in which Trump said he and Epstein had some great times together before falling out over a real estate deal. That Trump told Clinton that Trump and Epstein had some great times together before a falling out over a real estate deal. So let's try to connect some dots. You'll recall that Michael Wolff was someone who was probably the preeminent, Epstein biographer, talked about this real estate deal. There was this real estate transaction. I've got some sound. I'll play this for you because I think it's the best way to kind of tiptoe into this conversation. And I'll play. I've got some more individual clips that I'll play for you guys. But this is. Hang on one second. This is a creator. What's Up that I found, and this is an interesting breakdown.
Just accidentally corroborated why Trump had a falling out with Jeffrey. Watch this exchange from the GOP oversight hearing.
Donald Trump would come out and play a few holes with us. And he somehow knew I had flown in Jeffrey Epstein's aircraft, and he said, we had some great times together over the years, but we fell out, all because of a real estate deal. And he said, I'm sorry it happened. That's all.
Okay, so here's why that matters.
So it's just remember what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to lay one of the things that I focused on a lot on this entire story is the contradictions in timelines. Like we've got so many scenarios here where the statements that the president made based on emails that were exposed, based on communiques back and forth with other people, based on text messages, that his entire story timeline is just one series of lies after another. So the real estate deal, that's what we were all told initially as to why the relationship ended. So this story continues.
Trump has told 3 different stories about why he cut ties with Jeffrey. Story 1, Jeffrey stole spa employees, remember? Including, he later admitted, Virginia Giuffre, a trafficking victim that...
Okay, so I want to pause right there briefly. And that particular part, remember, this was what he said in that infamous statement that he made in Scotland last year.
At the time he threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. Can you settle that? What was it about? What caused the breach for him?
That's such old history. very easy to explain, but I don't want to waste your time by explaining it. But for years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth.
Okay, so that's the first contradiction, right? So he's gone on the record saying it was a real estate deal. He's gone on the record not only in this conversation that he had allegedly with Bill Clinton, telling him that it was about a real estate deal. Similarly, he told Michael Wolff. Similarly, he told other people. That was the entire story for years, that the relationship ended because of a real estate deal. Okay, so back to this.
Covering neocon.
Back to this story. Give me 1 second. I have so many freaking files open. Holy moly. Okay, here we go.
He now is calling a stolen employee. Story 2. Jeffrey was being a creep toward the teenage daughter of a Mar-a-Lago member around October 2007. That's actually when Mar-a-Lago's own.
Okay, so then let's here. Let me do this. So you've got Caroline Levitt talking about the creep component.
2006. Caroline, did he call the chief?
Look, it was a phone call that may or may not have happened in 2006. I don't know the answer to that question. What I'm telling you is that what President Trump has always said is that he kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club because Jeffrey Epstein was a creep, and that remains true. And this call, if it did happen, corroborates exactly what President Trump has said from the beginning. And I'm sure many of you, when you read that alleged FBI report, probably thought to yourself, wow, this really cracks our narrative that we've been trying to push about this president for many years. So
okay, so those are two contradictions, right? So the president's words you just heard, that he kicked him out because he stole his employees. Come to find out, that employee was, in fact, Virginia Dufresne. Virginia Dufresne hired at Mar-a-Lago as a minor, working in the massage parlor. Ghislaine Maxwell, in her testimony, and all other witnesses that testified against her, talked about how the Mar-a-Lago spa, in particular, was the hub. That was literally the training ground. So Caroline Levitt says he kicked him out because he was a creep, not because he was stealing employees. So this is where we have multiple stories here. So then back to this. I'll play this from the beginning again because I like the way this guy's put this together. His brain works like mine does.
Only corroborated why Trump had a falling out with Jeffrey. Watch this exchange from the GOP oversight hearing.
Donald Trump would come out and play a few holes with us. And he somehow knew I had flown in Jeffrey Epstein's aircraft, and he said, you know, we had some great times together over the years, but we fell out, all because of a real estate deal. And he said, I'm sorry it happened. That's all.
Okay, so here's why that matters. Trump has told 3 different stories about why he cut ties with Jeffrey. Story 1, Jeffrey stole spa employees, remember? Including, he later admitted, Virginia Giuffre, a trafficking victim that he now is calling a stolen employee. Story 2, Jeffrey was being a creep toward the teenage daughter of a Mar-a-Lago member around October 2007. That's actually when Mar-a-Lago's own registry listed Jeffrey's account as closed. And story 3, it was actually a 2004 real estate beef. Trump said they hadn't spoken in 15 years in 2019. You do the math.
Yeah, that timeline, again, doesn't track. We've got communications in the e-files about a relationship or a potential meeting in 2009, 2010, 2011, that time frame. So that 15-year relationship, I mean, not having conversations in 15 years, that story's gone. Doesn't track anymore based on these email threads. It just doesn't track. We have the goods, so to speak.
3 stories, 3 different timelines, one guy who can't keep them straight. Pick a lane, bro. But here's what we actually know happened in 2004, and it's documented. Jeffrey wanted a Palm Beach mansion, a massive oceanfront estate called Maison de l'Amitié, House of Friendship. Went up for auction after the previous owner went bankrupt. Jeffrey wanted it, and then Trump outbid him $41.35 million. The bankruptcy trustee literally described it as 2 very large Palm Beach egos going at it. Now here's where it gets spicy. Trump immediately lists it for $125 million, does 0 renovations, just flips it. And who buys it? A Russian oligarch named Rybolovlev for $95 million in 2008. Here's the kicker. Rybolovlev never set foot in that property, not before buying it, not after. And that same Russian oligarch's plane was documented landing in the same cities as Trump's campaign plane, Vegas on October 30th, 2016, and Charlotte on November 3rd, 2016. Within hours of Trump campaign rallies, journalists found at least 3 instances. 3. So now let's add Jeff's own words on top of that. In his email to journalist Michael Wolff, released by Congress, confirmed authentic, he has no money when he buys the house. His biz model is putting his name on a real estate development and gets a fee for using his name. He lists his income as the gross receipts of the clubs with no expenses deducted. Now, these aren't my words. These aren't a political opponent's words. These are Jeffrey's words to a journalist in 2019. Bill Clinton didn't mean to connect those dots today, but he did. Receipts, not speculation.
So yesterday, spent a lot of time for you trying to connect the dots regarding relationships between Russia and the I country and how I believe that Donald Trump is a puppet because I believe that he's compromised and they have the goods. And here's another example, right? We've talked about money laundering done through Russian oligarchs, through Trump properties in New York, buying, overpaying by, massive amounts for real estate, never taking up ownership, never moving in. Here's another example. Overinflate the cost for loan purposes, underinflate the cost for tax purposes. I mean, this is textbook money laundering. What do I always tell you, friends? Follow the fucking money. If you follow it long enough, it's going to take you right where it always goes, to a mountain of fucking corruption. So I will say this again, right? I don't care who is connected to these crimes. I want everyone involved connected to these crimes. So I believe that Bill Clinton was lying about the connect, especially from the information from Virginia DeFray's diary. I believe that he was lying about that. I do believe. So we can go back to what this person, Shantae, who gave him the massage, said. He was a perfect gentleman. So I believe her as well. So this is the problem, right? So we are left with a situation where we're going to have to decide. How do I want to say this? I am always going to believe women. I am always going to do that. That is my personal decision. You guys can navigate that as much as you want. I'm going to believe the words in Virginia DeFray's testimony from her journal, from her diary, from her family statements, that yes, Clinton was at the island, that yes, I saw him travel on planes more than once. So I will believe that. So he's lying about that. I will believe the massage therapist who gave him a neck massage. She said he was a perfect gentleman. He behaved honorably. I saw nothing nefarious. I'll believe that as well. I'm going to believe him because we've got Trump's own words talking about how the relationship ended over the real estate transaction. I'll believe that because that's what Trump told us. Trump also told us that the relationship ended because Epstein was stealing his employees. Caroline Leavitt said the relationship ended because he was a creep. So how the fuck do we navigate this? Which friends, is exactly the fucking point. That's exactly the point. And this picture depicts it. Thank you, Legend, for a great fucking background. Hearts in the chat for Greg, who does all of our backgrounds, by the way. That's the whole point. Throw as much out there, so we have to spend time talking about it. What else is there in this circumstance? Then we have powerful men, significantly powerful men, who at any turn who've been abusing children, women and girls and boys, for as long as there's been power and corruption, protecting themselves. And will they be held accountable? Likely not. We're going to do our best. Flood the zone, exactly.
Hey.
East meets West. Good morning. How are you today?
Good, I'm good. I just wanted to bring up a point that goes back to Hillary and Bill's testimony there, or whatever, questioning at the hearing. There's a history between the Clintons and the Trumps that people have failed to revive after the first time he won for the presidency. Hillary made mention of it, but there are 3 magazines that wrote articles in 2014, 2016, and 2018 that were between Chelsea and Ivanka, illuminating how long and deep their friendship had been, that they were the best of friends and that they would stay friends forever, and that this wasn't going to come between them because her father won and her mother didn't win, right? So to say that the Clintons don't know intimate details about the activities going on in New York City, they were on page 6 together for years. There are pictures of them at the same kinds of events. I have respect for Hillary.
Yeah. That's again. Let's speak. This is strictly your opinion, and I agree. Your opinion is completely valid. That your opinion is completely valid. Completely valid. So are you making the assertion that Hillary lied during her testimony as well?
Absolutely. There's a history between the Trumps and the Clintons after Clinton was out of office and living in New York City. Not in the city. He had his foundation in Harlem, and they had their home in Chappaqua. And they are seen all over the social scene during those years. So for either one of them to say the things that they claim they do not know or have not done or were not aware of, just go back and I'll give you even the publication names if you guys want to look up the article. Hello Magazine did an article about Ivanka and Chelsea's friendship in 2017. Time Magazine did one in July of 2016. Vanity Fair did one in May of 2018. Elle Magazine did one as late as 2020. Okay? There is a history there. And the reason that Hillary could get on that debate stage and say the things she said about Trump and that he was part of a group of deplorables, this is what she was talking about. The MAGA crowd think that she's talking about the voters, and she was not. She was talking about their associates.
Well, that's an opinion.
Okay, it's an opinion, but go read the article.
Well, but I'm just saying it's okay. It's okay. That is an opinion because I think if you look at the debate, I think she was referring to an entire group of people who supported the president, not just the people whose circles that they swam in. And this is speculation. Again, you are speculating, right? We've got data. We know page 6 and we know the New York Post. We know sensationalized magazines. I'm not here to contradict or defend anything you're saying. I'm saying I'm going to choose to believe Hillary Clinton's testimony in this. I'm going to choose to dissect Bill's because I believe he's lying.
Yes, but the one thing that I'm going to say that when Hillary defended Bill, when the Monica Lewinsky issue had came up, and she literally got on camera, because I saw this. I was young, but this was all televised. And she blamed the Republicans, saying that this was a scam against her husband and they were trying to defame him. And then she had to shut her mouth when he had to finally get out there and admitted that he did have a relationship with her. Okay? So Hillary covered for him. Hillary knows his history.
Again, you're speculating again, East. You're speculating.
I'm not speculating. It was.
No, you are.
She gave testimony.
You are East. I'm sorry. You are speculating. That's what we're doing here. You are speculating. Okay, that's what speculation is. But to be careful here, right? Again, I'm trying to navigate through this conversation with you because it's important that we hear voices. But you are speculating about what Hillary knew and what she didn't know and the time that she knew it or didn't know it. So just please be careful.
Okay.
Okay. Because that's what this is. Okay. That's a speculation. Okay. That's a speculation.
I'm not. You're right. I'm not trying to say that I know that she knew she was not telling the truth. She got on camera in front of the news and said he is innocent and it's the Republicans lying about him. And then later on, she had to backtrack that, and because he then admitted.
Right, because perhaps he eventually told her the truth.
Perhaps.
So initially, that's my point. That's what speculation is.
Okay. So then go back to when he was governor of Arkansas and the whole Jennifer Flowers
East, I'm sorry. I just got a restriction, so I have to kick you. I'm sorry. I don't want to lose live again. So that's bordering on misinformation. So I want to be very, very careful here. Very careful here. We are speculating. That's what I'm doing. Just because something's reported, we don't know what their relationship's like. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. All I'm saying is that is speculation. When you say Hillary comes out and defends her husband, perhaps her husband was lying to her, which he obviously was because he lied to Congress. And then she had to come back and say, yes, he did, in fact, have that relationship. We know that. That's the whole point, right? So we have to be very, very careful how we navigate through these things, E. So please accept that as just you know, we have to be careful how we speak of this. Two reasons. One, speculation is exactly that, speculation. And two, we don't want to lose the live because it's important that we have these conversations. All right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's a really good point. From a mental health perspective, people are oftentimes in denial when things happen. So there's that. He did lie to Congress. Yes, he lied to Congress, which then means that he was lying to his wife. That's the point. So it's not like, I'm not saying she was covering for him. I'm not saying she wasn't. I'm just saying it's speculation. Okay. All right. Let me go back to where I was here. I got a little distracted. Do I have this covered? Everybody keep tapping and sharing, please. All right. Here's another little bit from Hillary's testimony. This came out from the GOP oversight. I'm just impressed with how calm she was, to be honest. That she shouldn't have had to be there in the first place.
Just a couple of more questions. So regarding the Epstein files.
Hey guys, I just again got another flag. So please continue to tap like crazy. If you wouldn't mind gifting, that helps the algorithm as well. Please consider joining our team. This is what happens when we speculate, because the algorithm picks it up as potential misinformation. So guys, I'm just going to ask you, when you come up, if you have something you want to share, just say, in my opinion, and or I'm just speculating here, but it's my job to remind you that it is speculation and opinion. So please respect my space. I have very few rules when it comes to things like that. I'm just asking if you wouldn't mind doing that. Thank you, friends. I appreciate you.
A couple of more questions. So regarding the Epstein files, there are many files where Jeffrey Epstein seems to speak as though he does know you personally. In one file, EFTA 006571115, Mr. Epstein is commenting, and he quotes, "Hey, Hillary Clinton is much prettier in person." This was Tuesday, September 20th, 2011. And then another...
Congressman, I'm not going to object to that.
Congresswoman, can we see the documents, because we don't think the
we will get that
document says it. We don't think the document says it. Not that you're not pretty. I've got to say that.
Jeffrey Epstein has also commented that meetings with Hillary are not easily discreet. Has he ever connected someone to meet with you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, I'm going to let my colleagues ask.
So, the human side of Hillary, right? You know, don't forget, we played the sound last week of Lauren Boebert being asked by Piers Morgan, what's inflation? And she was like, blah, 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 blah. So the fact that she's in there questioning, the fact that Lauren Boebert is questioning Hillary Clinton, a JD, a lawyer, former first lady, former senator, former secretary of state, is fucking embarrassing. I think she handled it great. I really do. Okay. All right, a few more things, and we might need to shift topics a little bit today, because there's so many layers to this story, and I want to make sure that we keep the live up. So again, friends, I just want to be very clear. We have a general rule here, and I've said this to you guys a million times. I would rather be last than right, than first and wrong. I am not making any accusations that our previous guest was wrong about anything, but we have to speak in things of terms. I know we get emotional, we get animated about stuff. These topics are real, but we have to be careful. As I've made it my career in this space to combat misinformation. Misinformation is one of those things that you hear something, you don't intentionally spread it. And I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying we have to be careful how we discuss things. All right? We have to be careful. It's a disservice to you. It's a disservice to the work that we try to do here every single day. We take a lot of time. In fact, my mods will tell you this. I ask them things. I'm like, can we cover this the right way? Is this the right way to approach it? In fact, I just asked them if I handled that situation properly. That's the goal here, right? You might find it differently someplace else. We don't let conspiracies run, and we certainly don't want to start them. We don't want to start them ourselves. So it's just important. We have, like I said, very few rules here. That's one. So I appreciate you guys honoring that. Okay. Let me move on to a couple of other little things here. We've got more to discuss in this story. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the cover-up today because that's obviously top of mind. There's another weird story here. This one is a little bit crazy because this is reported by Newsmax. It's and how they've connected to some dots, and I'm trying to track down a lot of the information here. But when Newsmax reports it and they're being critical of the administration, it's like, what fucking timeline are we on? Here you go.
And then they told us all throughout the next 4 years that our tech was secure, and it was the most secure election ever after bragging about meeting with the people who Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon claimed could hack our elections. Their words, not mine. Make it make sense. But why was Bannon or any other officials in any other role meeting with people who, according to these emails, were doing or trying to do or possess the power to do all that? Let's look at some of the other stuff from these files too that even goes crazier than this stuff with Bannon. Why was he talking about replacing Trump, swapping Pompeo as the VP with Mike Pence, and then using the 25th Amendment to make Pompeo the president? These are text messages with what is assumed to be Epstein, confirmed to be with Bannon. Quote, I like the idea of Pence stepping down in favor of Pompeo, so when it happens, he becomes president. That's from allegedly Epstein. And I'm thinking, it? What do you mean by it? Bannon.
What happened? Hang on a second. Sorry about that. What happened?
And then they told us all throughout the next 4 years that our tech was secure, and it was the most secure election ever after bragging about meeting with the people who Jeffrey Epstein and Steve Bannon claimed could hack our elections. Their words, not mine. Make it make sense. But why was Bannon or any other officials in any other role meeting with people who, according to these emails, were doing or trying to do or possess the power to do all that? Let's look at some of the other stuff from these files too that even goes crazier than this stuff with Bannon. Why was he talking about replacing Trump, swapping Pompeo as the VP with Mike Pence, and then using the 25th Amendment to make Pompeo the president? These are text messages with what is assumed to be Epstein, confirmed to be with Bannon. Quote, I like the idea of Pence stepping down in favor of Pompeo, so when it happens, he becomes president. That's from allegedly Epstein. And I'm thinking, it? What do you mean by it? Bannon responding, that is his name, has this been shopped? Epstein replies, Rudy did lay out impeachment, Pelosi vote, and don't go after Ivanka. Bannon says, great. Great. Impeaching Trump? Well, I mean, we now know Pompeo was not a product of MAGA doctrine and was heavily critical of Trump once he left his first term, showing his true colors. And Bannon wanted him to become president? Am I reading that? There's a possibility that Bannon did nothing wrong and these are being misinterpreted. There's a possibility, giving him the benefit of the doubt here, considering he was, like, I defended this guy. I thought he was good for the administration initially. But there's some splaining to do about beyond talking about a documentary to revitalize Jeffrey Epstein's image. A lot.
I laugh because of how unbelievably complicated this is, right? I got a pretty good critically thinking brain, so I'm able to connect dots on lots of things. And I'm just like, what the fuck are we talking about now? About Steve Bannon wanting Pence replaced with Pompeo, and then they impeach Trump, and Pompeo becomes the president, and then Epstein's connected to all of it. This is why we say, right, exactly, Drea, so many fucking layers, so many layers by design, right? It's literally this. So this to me just comes down to a couple, I'm going to try to simplify it, my opinion. I do believe that the Bibi Netanyahu I country is responsible for so much of the corruption and cover up that it currently exists in our government. I've thought that for a while. Lots of heavy influence. I do absolutely believe that Bibi and Putin have the goods on Trump. Again, my opinion alone. I absolutely do believe that Jeffrey was an agent of Mossad. I absolutely believe that as well. I absolutely believe that there was a honeypot campaign. For those of you who don't know, like a honeypot campaign would be using incriminating information either acquired through video or photographic evidence or whatever it might be. I do believe that was part of it. Because if you think of all the people involved, not only does it connect royal families, remember Andrew Mountbatten Windsor loses his royal title and was arrested. The first time in, 400 years, I think it is, that a member of the royal family was arrested. This crosses all walks of life, everything. And then you can start to look back on things to say, what was this? Then you start to look at money funneled into the military-industrial complex. Why did we go to war here? Why did we go to war there? What are we trying to cover up? What was actually in the boxes that Trump stole in Mar-a-Lago? I am not a conspiracy theorist. I'm really not, right? But it's sloppy psyop. Exactly. So here we sit now. So the fruits of their labor, their intention was for all this to go away, right? For all this to go away. Here we are now. So the person that is most likely responsible, the person who's at the center of all of this, is our president. There's no way to deny that. Yeah, it's more like a honey net. Good question, because it's an entire network. He is at the center of all of it. He's at the center of the Mar-a-Lago documents case. He's at the center of the attempt to steal the election because he didn't want to go to jail. He's at the center of the massive corruption from countries. Think about all the money that he's got through crypto. Where did that come from? That came from a lot of the same countries that are now involved in this war. You've got other countries, Arab countries, who would likely never partner with Israel, going after Iran. This thing is so fucking big and so complicated. My brain, that's when the superpower of the ADHD kicks in a little bit, because it helps me kind of put these pieces together a little. But he is the central figure. There's really no denying that, because again, everything points to money. Follow the money. But yeah, you just said it, Adelita. The corruption is just unreal. It's like corruption. There's got to be a different word for it. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there has to be a different word for it, just because of so many fucking layers and how it works. Connection to the Supreme Court. Don't forget money from Harlan Crow and Trammell Crow and Leonard Leo, who are all connected to the financial network and the financial relationships that Epstein set up. Supreme Court money, Clarence Thomas's corruption. Don't forget negotiating, giving members of Congress some key talking points during Kavanaugh's hearing to how to discredit Blasey Ford. Miss Ford, who claimed that Kavanaugh assaulted her. All these kinds of things. All this stuff starts to make more sense to me now. I've always thought about, butter emails. I've always thought about these layers, right? But when you start to bring the whole thing out, when you kind of really zoom out 50,000 feet, you're like, Jesus, that makes sense. And remember, I was told that if I voted for Kamala Harris, that we would have economic disaster. I was told that if I voted for Kamala Harris, we would have civil unrest at home. I was told that if I voted for Kamala Harris, there'd be violations to the Constitution. I was told if I voted for Kamala Harris, we would go to war with Iran. Well, I voted for Kamala Harris, and all those things happened. People in this administration are so connected to the Jeffrey files. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton had to testify. Where is Howard Nutlick? Where is Kevin Warsh? Kevin Warsh, by the way, is Trump's pick to be the new Fed chair. His name's in the files too. Where's everybody? As is always the case. Where's Melania? Exactly. As is always the case. As is always the case. Women's voices will not be heard. Survivors will go without justice. I don't know if you watch The Pit. It's an amazing show. It's one of the best television dramas I've ever seen. Noah Wiley, for those of you who know, who are a student of television history, played Dr. Carter on ER. So he's part of that. You're used to seeing him in an emergency room. There was a recent episode of an SA survivor, and I got thinking about that. I'm not going to give you a spoiler. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. Don't worry. And it got me thinking about that and about how this woman was just. Well, you have to watch it for yourself. But here we sit again. Here we sit again. The most powerful people in the world just lying to protect each other. Cover up after cover up after cover up. And I have this belief that they're just sitting around laughing because they're going to do it again. They're going to continue to do it. These abuses are happening right now. Girls and boys are being trafficked right now. Women are being raped right now. Survivors' voices are just, financial settlements are financial settlements. They're just that. And here we sit. Here we sit with people at the pinnacle of power in the world, taking advantage of children, trafficking them, raping them, disappearing them, like it's a hobby. And we've got former presidents lying. And we've got current presidents lying. We've got the Department of Justice failing miserably, sitting there lying. I don't give a shit what administration, they're all responsible. This goes back decades. It spans numerous administrations. And one thing that I love about this community is how to hold our own accountable. And that's what this is about. I'm so just disgusted by this, what we see every single day. And it absolutely takes a lot out of all of us. But we made a commitment to you all that we're not going to stop talking about this story. And we're not, because of how deep it goes. And all of these things, Venezuela, now the war in Greenland, Supreme Court, ICE, tariffs, Board of Peace, all distractions. Being supported by our Department of Injustice and Corruption, protecting predators. We want health care. We want food security. We want women's rights to their bodies protected. We want marginalized communities protected. Most people want those things. As a reminder, it's primary day. Arkansas, Texas, North Carolina. So, all for 20 cents savings in gas, but we're expecting gas prices to go up. We know CPI's up. We know the PPI's up. We know all these things. To what end? This is what we're asking. We're asking MAGA voters. We're just asking. We're asking everybody who doesn't participate. We're asking people to just step back for a second and say, what is it that I am defending? Like, what is it? What is it that I am defending? You're defending an administration that is protecting a global network of predators. Right? I don't have to carry that burden. I don't. Yeah, now gas prices are going up, and it's going to go up even further. You're defending corruption to the lengths of which we've never seen before. But what about Biden? Sure. Okay. No problem. You didn't like the fact that Hunter got access to his dad, got a job because of his dad? Okay, fine, no problem. Sure, call it out. Nepotism sucks. As long as we can talk about Ivanka and Jared, cool with that, or his sons enriching themselves to the tune of billions of dollars. Why? 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 You're not going to get picked. You're not going to the ballroom. You're not going to to the buffet line at Mar-a-Lago. You're not. You're being used as pawns. Those of you red hat wearing racists, bigots, homophobes, transphobes, you don't see yourself like that because you don't want to see yourself like that. But you know what? I still want you to have health care. I do. I still want you to have health care. I still want your families to have a brighter future. I still want you to have an opportunity to advance your life. Still do. Still do. It's a pretty clear line. We're sitting here saying that we want everybody involved. There's no denying that the President of the United States is involved more than anybody questioned so far. And it's not even close. Not even close. Not even close. And now we've lost the lives of 6 service members. I think the confirmation is 6. To do what? To cover this shit up? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a pretty wild flex. Good morning, Mitch. You were chirping. What's on your mind?
Oh, not really chirping. I just want to know, like, what's your evidence, like, in a sense, for everything about this that you strongly believe?
What's my evidence?
Yeah, and you're going to just say he's mentioned in the files 38,000 times. That's not good enough evidence. That's not good enough evidence. You guys talk about him more than Harris.
Mitch.
Does that prove my point?
Mitch, stop.
You guys mention him more than your own leader. Is that my point too?
Mitch, do you want to have a conversation or do you not? It's really simple. If you're going to come in here and just yell, then what's the point? You asked me a question. Would you like me to answer?
Absolutely. That's why I stopped talking.
Okay. So evidence is what would you describe as evidence, Mitch?
Something that you can actually use to convict.
So, for example, there was evidence that was used to convict Ghislaine Maxwell, right? They used evidence, credible evidence to convict Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you accept that?
I would say, I guess, by a judge.
Okay, so some of that same evidence, by the way, that also mentioned Donald Trump's name, disappeared from the DOJ's website. So if it's evidence enough to convict Ghislaine Maxwell, then why is it not credible to also make allegations against the president?
So what you're saying is you had evidence on Donald Trump when they convicted Ghislaine Maxwell, right?
They used the,
now,
they
funny
used
thing
some of
is,
the
she
same,
was convicted how long ago?
Let me answer.
How long
let me
ago
answer
was
the
she
question.
convicted?
Let me answer the question, man. Let me answer the question. You asked me a question. You got to let me answer it. My statement is they used testimony that listed Donald Trump's name and Ghislaine Maxwell's name to convict Ghislaine Maxwell. So if it's credible enough to convict her, is it not credible to make allegations against the president?
But like I just said, when was this?
Why does that matter?
Time frame does matter.
Why?
Was it before or after he was running for president?
When did she go to jail?
Before.
Okay. So again, she was convicted of, do you believe that she did what she was convicted of?
Oh, I believe it.
Okay, so then if you believe that, if you believe the evidence used to convict her is credible, some of the same information that they had that included Donald Trump's name just randomly disappeared from the DOJ's website, including statements from the same. Wait a minute, bro. Wait. I need you to listen. I need you to listen. If that information was used, you just agreed, you believe what she did, you believe the witness testimony, you believe the evidence against her that put her in jail. A lot of that same evidence mentioning Trump's name disappeared from the DOJ's website. Why do you think that is?
Why do you think Trump was not convicted with her?
Can you answer my question? Why do you think that information disappeared? Why?
It was non-relevant. It probably wasn't real.
So you just believed it, though. When I asked you the question, if it was real to convict Ghislaine Maxwell, you said you believed it. I asked you that question. You said you believed it.
Donald Trump.
Now you
don't.
The
Donald Trump part, not real.
Of course you don't. That's why you're in a fucking cult. Good day. You see what I mean, you guys? Mitch, you don't have to debase yourself like that, bro. You don't have to do that. You just exposed yourself as being in a fucking cult, man. I asked you the question. Do you believe the information used to convict Ghislaine Maxwell? You said you did. I asked you, do you believe that she did what she was accused of? You said you did. I asked you that if you believe those things, you got the same information. Why did it disappear when it comes to Trump? And you said, well, it wasn't real when it comes to him. And we're the ones that are radical because I want health care. And you know what, Mitch? I want you to have health care. I do. I really, really do. I want you to have health care. I want you to have access to capital. I want your family and your children to have a brighter future. I want public education accessible. And where they're at, exactly, Rory. Do you understand? You guys just witnessed that in real time, right? This is when they talk about evidence, right? Don't forget that. That's the story. That is the story, that they used information to convict Ghislaine, and then suddenly that information went missing. It's a test, right? It's a test of character. It's a test of character. It's a test of morality. It's a test. Johnny, how are you today?
Hey, good. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Oh, no, I always wanted to just say, hey, I've been following you for a while. I'm a fellow Vermonter.
Nice.
Wanted to, yeah, and I'm in Central Vermont.
Nice.
So I'm part of like the Indivisible group here, and I just wanted to introduce myself, say hey, that's all.
Okay. Well, that's great. Message me. Okay, I'd love to talk. I mean, because I'm from Southern Vermont. Well, I mean, we joke Central Vermont and Southern Vermont are like a half an hour apart, so it's not like it's a big deal, you know.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
yeah, what people don't know. But you're gonna go out for town meeting today?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Appreciate you saying that. Thanks for jumping in. Please message me so we can connect. I appreciate you.
Will do.
See you later. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Vermonters, we unite. I just want to go back. I mean, just think about what we just witnessed. Think about what we just witnessed. Think about what we just witnessed. Everybody else is guilty. Everybody else. Everyone. Clinton's guilty. Maxwell's guilty. Summers is guilty. Wexner's guilty. Dershowitz is guilty. Everybody. Everybody's guilty. Except the person who's in the files more than anyone else. Everybody. It's like, what? What? He's not. Of course he's not. Yeah, I don't believe the Trump parts. I hope there's people that are watching, right? Love me or leave me. I don't care. That's not why I do this. I just hope people can listen and see, like, okay, somebody's watching. They could be hardcore MAGA. They don't want to admit it. They're just in the comment section. They're listening along because many of you are here. I know that. Kiss, kiss. There's still applications for the throuple. Just listen. Ask yourself, listen to that conversation and be like, okay, this guy, I'm a Trump guy. Okay, well, the way that hostess described that is weird. So the person who went to jail, the information used to convict her was credible because she went to jail. I have to believe the verdict. Some of that same information in the same witness testimony disappeared from the DOJ's website. I wonder why. They're crimes against humanity. It's just like, why? Hazy, how are you today?
All right. How are you doing this morning?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Couple things. So first of all, I just want to remind people, as you did earlier, that you have to go into the speculation territory, just A, to protect the live, and B, because it can be a legal issue. So just keep that in mind as you come up here, it's your opinion, and protect Steve, because Steve is doing work that is amazing. And Steve, thank you for doing that work. I think these things need to be brought to light. In terms of the person who was just up here before, Mitch, I would challenge you to take Donald Trump's name out of there and put somebody else's name in there and say, is it okay that that person did this? Whether it's your president or whoever, take them out, put your pastor's name in, put your father-in-law's name in, put whoever in and say, is it okay that they did this? And put your child's name in for all of the women and children and boys. And I think when you question yourself on that, you're going to come to a completely different outcome. And I would also remind you that what you just said showed you don't have any critical thinking skills. And those are the people that Donald Trump loves. They are his cult members love the fact that you cannot stand there and have a thought on your own.
It's a really good point. Yeah, somebody just mentioned this. Put Barack Obama's name in there.
Yeah. They would
example.
fry him if his name was in there.
Correct.
And that's the scary part. And all these other people that aren't even named that are coming out that are MAGA followers, there have been more people that have been named in the past year as SA offenders from the MAGA side than people I have seen like from any other affiliation. And it's crazy. It's just, it's going and going and going. And when you pull one string, 10 more unravel.
That's exactly right. I mean, there's a photograph now when Clinton said that she was never in a room with Jeffrey they'd ever met. There's photos that literally you can see the watermark that says it's AI on it. It was Diddy, it was Clinton, a few other people together that they would never have been in the same room together at the same time. Anyway, you can literally see the AI water stamp, and they are now saying that that's proof that Hillary was lying. This is what happens.
Yeah,
right?
and
this is what happens.
I listened to Hillary a bit yesterday, and yes, I voted for Hillary. And am I her biggest fan? No. But at the same time, I don't think she knew a lot of what Bill was involved in. I remember the Monica Lewinsky thing. I don't think she knew then. And this is all my opinion. So, I think she came out and showed herself as being human yesterday, which I think is what she missed in the election. And I think that's like taking it off track here a bit. I think as we look for candidates in the future, we need people to show up and show that they are human.
Agreed.
Because we're all human.
All of our, you're right. All of our faults, all of our past, own it. I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that, Hazy, because if we want, like, I want more people to run for office. I want more of us, like humans. We're all humans. We all have our mistakes. We've all made mistakes. We've all said stupid things. If we can hold ourselves to account to try to make our lives better, then when we see elected officials are doing the same, can't we give them the same grace we would give ourselves? Why are we putting elected officials at a higher standard? We shouldn't.
Absolutely.
We should hold our elected officials to the same standard we hold ourselves.
Yeah, right? I have a neighbor whose wife cheated on him, and they're getting divorced, and he's moving out. He got the house, she's gone. And I'm like, I don't judge that. That's their life. It happened behind closed doors, and, move on. And I feel the same way with any politician until you get into things like what are in these files. If you are doing that, you deserve the same punishment as any Joe Schmo walking down the street.
Correct. Or if you're not even connected to the files, if you've just made some mistakes in the past in your life and you've owned it, then just own it.
Own
That's
it.
What we want.
Learn
What do
from
we teach our kids? Right. What do we teach our kids? What do we teach our kids? Be accountable. You make a mistake, you fuck up, own it. Move on.
Absolutely.
Ask for forgiveness.
That's one of the first things.
That's for humans.
I've talked about my kid before, and one of the first things I always ask her is, well, what did you do to deserve it? And everybody laughs at me, and they're like, well, did she really have to do anything? I'm like, no, but I know my kid, and I know how she is, and I know she's an instigator. So I'm going to expect that there's some kind of nuance there that either she didn't tell me or that I'm going to find out along the way. But like, I think if we think about that with everybody, and just kind of play devil's advocate with everyone that we interact with, yes, we can still look for the best in everybody. But as you learn people, their true colors show through. Like, no matter what, the truth always comes out. The light will always shine through, whether it's in a good light or bad light. It's always going to shine, and people forget that it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, individual parenting styles, no doubt about it. But I think the whole goal here is to we have to be willing to hold ourselves accountable. If we're not willing to do that, then how can we expect to hold others accountable? But thanks for jumping in today, Paisley. I appreciate your perspective. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Thanks a lot.
You too.
Yeah, isn't that the goal, right? I don't like the fact that we put politicians, I don't like the fact that we put anybody on a pedestal. I just don't. I don't. You know, you could admire somebody, like you can look up to an athlete, you can look up to an individual. That's different. But why is it that we've come to put, don't let celebrities be your role models. Let teachers be your role models, or physicians be your role models, or community activists to be your role models. Allow those people, because they're the ones that are not asking for notoriety. They're not the ones that are asking for attention. In fact, they don't want the attention. They're the perfect kind of people that you want to idolize because of the work that they're doing. The name doesn't give you the cred. What you do does, right? Which again, this is the do something spirit. So as you all know, I'm hitting the road this fall. Well, starting in the spring, over the course of the summer, and then in earnest this fall. The Do Something Tour. We're going to remote communities. We're going to rural areas. We're going to Appalachia. We're going to the desert Southwest. We're going to the Southeast. We're going to swing states. We're going to D.C. I'm going on the road. If you want to support us, you can do so through Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. We're marching towards a $25,000 goal. Could we hit $5,000 today? Appreciate you guys. If you wouldn't mind helping us out, $1 here, $1 there. I appreciate you all very, very much. Okay. Try to get some requests in here. It looks like people want to talk about this today, so let's talk. Digging, how are you today? Hello? Digging, are you there? I guess not. Please request up if you want to come back up and talk. Georgie, how are you today?
Hey, good morning, brother. Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. What's on your mind?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, I love the live. I love the talk. I live here in LA. Just this morning, just going through everything that's going on, man. And it's just it's so confusing. It's frustrating. It's frightening, and honestly, it's just disappointing. It's frightening not to know what's to come. And it's just honestly so disappointing to hear some of these individuals that I've heard on other lives, and also that's come up on your panel that just defend this man. And it's just like, my goodness, it's like it's an excuse after excuse after excuse, and it's just like, is there anything that the Orange Cheeto will ever do that will make these people like open their eyes, and just have some sense? It's just so disappointing. It makes me so ashamed to be an American sometimes, to having to listen to some of these individuals. And in the rhetoric of like, oh, this has nothing to do with the e-files. It's like, bro, how can you even say that this has nothing to do with that? I mean, this is just a big distraction. Whether it's a domino effect, for him to attempt to stop the elections and the midterms, because he knows that if he loses, the House and everything, he's going to get impeached. And yeah, maybe, right? And it's just like, I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. It's extremely frustrating. And I'm going to be a father soon, and I've always heard, people, say that epic line, what kind of world am I going to bring my child into? And now that it's my turn, and I'm going to be a father soon, man, that sentence really hits home, especially with what's going on. It's just, it's really disheartening, but I'm trying not to lose faith. I'm trying to, keep the hope up. And yeah, man.
You know what kind of world you're bringing your kid into? A world that is you're surrounding them with love, kindness, compassion, understanding, respect, empathy. That's the kind of world you're bringing them into, because that's the kind of world that you would want for them.
Yeah, amen
everything
to that,
else
brother.
is everything else. Everything else is everything else. Do you know what you're having?
Yeah, we're gonna have a little girl. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, man.
Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
I'm good. No, I'm not. I get what he's saying. I get it. It's scary as shit. I get it. I understand. There's no greater gift than being a parent. I'm sorry. There's no greater gift. That's what we're fighting for. Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's no greater gift. That's why I do this every day. That's why we have these conversations. That's why this community means so much to me, because you get it. And we just see Jess, you can tell your daughter that I am okay because I love her mom and her mom's awesome. Thank you. This is just like, I don't want to have to talk about this every day. I don't. I want to talk about how we can, have a better healthcare system and how we can have a better tax system to benefit the middle class, and how we can have more access to money in the best education system and all these kinds of things. But he's about to be a girl dad. My daughter's going to be leaving for college in 6 months, and I'm gutted. I'm gutted by it. Okay. I'm good.
Crap. I don't have anything.
What's going on, man?
Man, that was. I was just coming up to talk about election. I don't even have a daughter.
Go for it.
Why am I crying? God damn it.
You know why? Because you get it, Manny. That's why you're crying. Because you get it. You understand. You get it. Sorry, Rory. I didn't mean to make anybody upset, but like we just talked about, we're fucking human, and this shit takes its toll. And this is real to me, and it's real to all of you. That's what makes this community so incredible. I don't hide my emotions. I don't. I feel what I feel, good or bad. And these are real to me, and they're why it's so fucking necessary that we talk about this shit. Because the most vulnerable people in our society, our fucking kids, are being used as experiments and as trafficking victims so that the predators of the fucking world can get off. And I am just so angry about it. And that anger turns into just heartfelt emotion towards parents of children all over the place, especially now that there's about to be a brand new girl dad. So, yeah. Anyway, What do you got on elections? I need to change the subject.
Yeah. Texas, North Carolina, Arkansas. If you're in those 3 states, if you know nobody in those 3 states, black community, over 60% of black people in America live somewhere in the South. Texas, North Carolina, Arkansas. You guys all have statewide primaries. Statewide. Every district, local, city, state, you all have primary elections. Arkansas specifically, you guys have 2 special elections, District 70 and District 26. Massachusetts, you have 1 general election. It is District 1, I believe. If you live in Texas, it is not just Jasmine v. James. You have statewide primaries. Statewide. Everywhere. Texas, Arkansas, North Carolina. I believe Arkansas has a primary for a mayor somewhere. Everyone, please go and vote today. Today. It is a big March 3rd. And March is heavy with special elections and primaries. March is very, very heavy with elections. A lot of states have where if the candidate gets over 50%, they automatically win the primary. That means if it's I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, if it's like both the Democrat, Republican, as well as the independents are in that primary, if a candidate gets over 50% in that primary, they automatically win. Primaries,
Correct.
just
Under
because
50,
it says primary.
Under 50, it's a runoff. You're correct. You're absolutely right.
Just because it says primary doesn't mean that you're just voting for the person that's going to represent you in a general election. Please go out and vote. North Carolina, Texas, Arkansas, go out and vote. And I'm sure I can't cover all. Again, 435 House members, over 26 different senators, 36 governors, and a whole host of other mayors, judges. I think Arkansas has like 6 judges that I can't even follow that are up for primary as well. Please, if you want to wrangle in the court system, your judges matter. They're desperate with Texas because the Republicans shop Texas for judges every day, all day. Take back not just the House, not just the Senate, not just your state electorate. Take back the judges as well. It's very important. This Texas, Arkansas, and North Carolina. Please go out and vote. All right.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Thank you for doing the work. If you guys don't follow Manny, please do. Follow his Substack as well, because this dude knows his fucking shit. And I am so honored that you, the power thruple that you and our Gen X influencer Olive have become for us, bro. I appreciate you very much. You know that.
I love you, and I love everybody in the chat. All right.
Love you too, man. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Peace.
You too.
Yeah, he's right. It's election day. Let's fucking go. I'm going to get pie. I can't promise you that, but that's what we get in our community. You show up at town meeting day, you get pie. You show up on the general election day, you get pie. I used to try to bring my own. I can make a pretty good pumpkin pie, and I do the lattice crust. It's not bad, but I can't compete. I can't compete with that. There's just too much going on there. Okay. And a few folks are requesting. Thank you, Jones. Appreciate you. Hey, Ben, how are you today?
How's it going, Steve? Can you hear me?
Good. I can. Got a lot of background noise, but I can hear. There you go. Oh, what's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that that case you were talking about that mentions that got Ghislaine Maxwell, the victim's testimony was also credible enough to get money from Epstein's estate. So there's that.
Exactly right. Exactly right. It's exactly right. Credible when it applies to everybody else, but apparently not for Trump. But thank you, man. I got a lot of background noise. I appreciate you, brother, for jumping in today. I appreciate you very much. You got it, man. It's a great point. Money used in a settlement. It's a really, really good point. Really good point. Everybody keep tapping, please. Let's get across the finish line. Hello, girl dad.
Yes. Hello, father of daughter.
Mm-hmm.
If Central Vermont dude guy is still in the chat, make a comment so that one of the mods can reach out to you, because I think I need to buy him a shirt.
Sure. Definitely.
So,
yes.
So wanted to start on that positive note, because it was getting very dusty out here as I was walking Scout. Because where I live, it's often very dusty.
Correct. Yes. Very dusty. Yes. Bothers the eyes. I get it. Yes.
As soon as you took your glasses off, I was like, that fucking bastard did it to me again. Damn it. Stop making me be human.
I don't have to. You already are. You're a good one.
Bro. So, I got called out on patrol yesterday for our community. And here's a little observation. One, I put a picture of the view from one of the spots I stopped at, just so you and your daughter can appreciate the types of views that she's going to have when she comes out here. It's not just my community that's being impacted by the things that are going on. There are several other schools in and around the communities that I was patrolling. And it really kind of hit home, right? Because some were like grade schools. That sound in the background is a peacock, not a peahen. Welcome to where I live. We have wild peacocks. So
I was going to say that kind of sounded like my brakes. Anyway.
Hey now, is that post or pre mud and stick season?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. The thing that I think conservatives don't get is they can't be doing one thing and see another, right? Like if I think I had a cult member in the truck and I was explaining what I was doing, right? And then I showed them the other schools, they wouldn't get it, right? They'd be like, oh, well, you're here just for your community. And I'm like, yeah, but my community is next to other communities, which is next to schools, which is always next to hospitals, right?
That's how they're built.
And I think that's the quiet observation I made as I was mumbling to myself. I was out by myself, so I had no one else to talk to. And you talk about this a lot. We have to start looking past the tip of our nose, right? The downstream negative impacts of being in a cult are Mitch. Correct. Evidence is evidence. It's admitted into court. It doesn't have a position on any one individual. It was accepted as evidence because a point was brought up. And the point of evidence is that anyone that touches it or is involved in it is guilty of it by association at a bare minimum. So we can't say that 1 + 1 = 3, unless, of course, you're in a cult, right? Watching him come up and twist himself in these mental gymnastics was just so bizarre because it keeps happening.
And sad at the same time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I don't really hate anyone. Right?
Same.
I mean, I strongly dislike onions in my food, and I prefer bacon as opposed to. Hold on.
Say Yankee fans, but that's an entirely separate conversation. If you know, you know.
There is no distance I won't travel to diss a Yankees fan. There is no bar too low. Anyway. Ooh, now you got me mad.
Sorry.
It's okay. First you got me crying, now you got me angry. You're such an asshole. God damn it, Steve.
And New Hampshire. That's
the
right.
point
Chris
that
said that. And New Hampshire. That's
and
right.
New Hamster. I don't know who was up in the box, but she was talking about the human side of Hillary and how it would have been nice to have seen it. But I would like to remind people that there are generations of politicians or people who have moved in political circles. They have been taught and conditioned to be afraid of being vulnerable and showing who they are. And, I know that's a topic for Fridays, but I would love Hillary to come up on a Friday so we could ask if she's okay.
Yeah.
Because that tough mask doesn't fool me. Did it fool you? Right?
No.
She looked in excruciating pain.
She did.
And then to have clowns like Boebert speak at her, dude.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
Anyway, so I'm going to keep focusing on that photo that I put in the mod chat. I'm really looking forward to our daughter coming here and getting to see her, and I will have regular reporting. Not on the 8th, but
in other words, security detail.
Yes. Oh, you want to go on a date? Hold on. Let me get my tactical gear on. Excuse me, young man. Can you sit down?
Communications across the country. Have I shown you my firearms collection?
Yes. Hey, one last comment. Not all math nerds are built the same.
Oh, that's true. That is very true. That's a good point.
Anyway, thank you for making me cry. I hate you.
Always.
I love you.
Back at you. Yeah. Get out of here. Go walk.
Peace.
Peace. See you. Caw. Yeah. It's a really good point. We go through the day, right? I never know what to predict for these shows. There's just certain things that just are emotional to me, and I'm not afraid to show it. Now, I know that obviously the triggered young men that are in the chat today are apparently offended by the fact that there's a man who's one who expresses emotion publicly in front of a couple thousand people every single day who happens to wear nail varnish. Sorry. Don't know what to tell you. You might want to consider trying to get in tune with your feelings a little bit, because what's you've been told is the only emotions that you're allowed to share, fellas, is anger and lust. And look where that's gotten you. Look where that's gotten you. Alone, angry, violent, being called out, right? You don't have to debase yourself to defend a person who doesn't give a fuck about you. You don't. You don't. You don't have a contract. You don't have an account that's going to be fed. You don't have a, terms of service agreement. You didn't sign off on anything. It's just a conscious choice that you've made. He doesn't give a fuck about you. You know what, though? You know who does? I do. I want you to have health care. I want you to have access to mental health care in particular. I want you to be paid for your work so you don't have to work. By the way, fellas, when you brag about working 75 hours a week, that ain't a flex at all. It's not a flex. You shouldn't have to do that. It's not like you don't get an extra punch on your man card. It's dumb. It's fucking dumb.
who means what he says and says what he means. Like, what is the point of having someone in that position of power if you never know if what he's saying is the truth or a lie? Like,
Correct.
What is the point?
Correct.
When did we want a leader who we couldn't even trust the words that came out of his mouth? And if they do come out and they're bad, you just call it a joke. I don't want a jokester. I don't want a jester. I want a leader who actually has dignity and wants to serve his people.
His job. Just do his job.
It's the one, I mean, it's the most important job we have in this country, and it sets the tone for how we're seen around the world, and he's a joke. And they think it's funny because they're owning the libs.
Correct.
It's the most serious position you can be in, and to not take it seriously does not seem to be a deal breaker to some of these people.
I know. But as one of my mods just pointed out, we could have had that, but she had a weird laugh.
Yeah, she had a weird laugh. She also, owned a gun. Oh my gosh, like they want. Right? They want personal, like, oh gosh, she actually, was a follower of all the amendments of the Constitution. She also didn't cheat on her husband and pay off a porn star, and she also wasn't in the files hurting children. Like, God forbid we have a woman who, also the way her stepchildren speak of her, the way that Doug's ex-wife speaks of her, she obviously is a good leader and servant leader to her family. So why would that not translate to her being good for this country?
Correct. Agreed. Thank you for your take this morning, friend. I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot, and be safe out there. All right.
Thanks. You too. Have a good day.
I appreciate you. You too. It's a great point, right? Which goes back to systemic racism and misogyny, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No notes. Actually, on that point, I think I want to play this now. I found this clip, and I think this is an interesting discussion between misandry and misogyny. And I just want you to hear the opposite sides here. The question is misandry more allowed than misogyny? Here you go.
So the two groups have chosen Ryan and Oliver for this. Is misandry more allowed than misogyny?
I don't think I can find middle ground on this because misogyny literally kills women. And misandry.
I mean, that statement in itself, our very presence.
No. You misunderstood me.
Okay,
the hatred of women kills women.
Yes.
Would you disagree with that?
The hatred of, hatred could lead to killing
So the definition of misogyny is the hatred of women.
Yeah.
So the misogyny kills women.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
The same thing. The hatred of men, teaching them who they are as being toxic, could lead to them ending their own lives.
Okay, so because some men might have a misunderstanding of what misandry is, and they might kill themselves, and that's the same thing as men killing women because
or being unjustly locked up for rape accusations.
And how often?
Because automatically it's deferred that the woman is innocent, she's not guilty, and the man is guilty.
What about Johnny Depp? Did that happen in that case? What about in Chris Brown? Did that happen in that case?
Chris Brown.
What about in Donald Trump? Did that happen in that case? What happened to Brett Kavanaugh?
Brett Kavanaugh was demonized.
Yeah, he was.
And
where is he right now?
Yeah, because
where is he right now?
It failed.
Tell me where he is. Where is he right now?
He's sitting on the Supreme Court.
Thank you.
Okay.
Where is Brett Kavanaugh right now? He's sitting on the Supreme Court. Where is Donald Trump right now? He's been found civilly liable, and he's sitting in the Oval Office, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You wonder why we get angry? Those of us that are on the left, even people on the right who just are disgusted by this shit. You wonder? You wonder? The same people that are defending Trump saying, well, misandry's evil, feminazis, the male loneliness epidemic is all women's fault. Everything is women's fault in their eyes these days. Everything, all of it. The entire thing is women's fault. Sure. It's easy to say that. Certainly easy to say that. But you know what? In a matriarchy, your fucking lives would be better. They would be better. Your lives would be better if women ruled the fucking world, and there's no doubt about it. Instead, we are run by people who are doing everything possible to protect the fucking predators who preyed on women and girls and boys. Period. But the Andrew Wilsons of the world and the Christian nationalists of the world and the Pete Hegseths of the world, those people, not only do they not want to hear your voice, they don't want your vote. They don't want you to own property. They don't want you to exist. They don't see you in society as someone who is, who's willing to fight for their rights too. Look at every single society around the globe that have women in leadership positions, and they measure the success of their country not by their GDP, by their happiness index. As somebody who served in corporate America, right? I know, exactly, Sam. You just got your own credit cards, exactly. As somebody who served as a pretty prominent position in corporate America, I can see it firsthand when you are only focused on profit. When you shift the paradigm and you focus on making sure your employees are happy, retention is something that corporate America doesn't pay enough attention to, and I wish they did. It's one of the reasons that I left. We want to keep our people, because people who know this, and Obi knows this, so some of the largest single investments that on the SG&A line item on your P&L sheet, right, would be rehires. The amount of productivity that you lose when you lose somebody and then having to retrain somebody is massive. If companies could focus more on retaining their people by creating an environment that is diverse, equitable, inclusive, accessible, those things are so fucking powerful. And the toxic masculine corporate America culture will never see it because they don't want to lose power. You transfer that methodology to running a country, you make sure that you've got healthcare, a good education system. If you educate women in particular, what that does, if you invest, look at communities around the globe, right? Especially countries in Africa or Southeast Asia. When you get women in leadership positions and they focus on those kinds of things, those fundamental things, like the bedrocks, what should be the bedrocks of society, education, healthcare, empowering women, fuck. We would all be better. We would just all be better. It doesn't mean that men don't have a place. Of course not. Of course men have a place. But what has it gotten us now? The world is fucking popping off. Who are the leaders of the countries involved? Come on. It's really not that complicated if you're just willing to take a step back, and all the betas out there are afraid. So Queens, give them something to be afraid of, and please go vote today. Hi, Feisty. How are you?
Steve, I was not paying attention. I was tapping, but I'm just sitting here this morning taking all of this in, and as an old lady, I wake up every morning wondering what happened overnight, what's going to happen during the day. And I didn't do that prior to this administration.
None of us did.
I'm lost. I'm just lost. And yes, I'm old. I'm 76.
You're not old.
Thank you.
You're just a veteran of a few more wars than the rest of us.
Yeah, I certainly am. But I think more about my son, my two elementary school granddaughters. Yes, I'm old enough to be a great grandmother, but my son got started late. And it just kills me. Oh, sorry, I used the word.
It's okay.
To think. Now, my son, successful, YT, young man, he'll be okay, I hope. But my granddaughters and everybody else's granddaughters and great-granddaughters, and I'm torn. I'm so torn apart, I don't know what to do. And I think about this damn fucking war And all these young fellas, not just fellas, but young ladies as well. We're gonna have more lives lost.
Yeah.
And it's just one thing after another. One tragedy after another every day. And, you think there's no end in sight. But I know we have to keep our faith, whatever that may be. We have to keep our hope. But it's hard sometimes. And my precious late mother always taught me and my sister, don't ever say you hate someone. That's a hard, hard word. You may despise them, but I'm coming real close to that hate in my heart, and I fight it every day. I fight it every day. But it's hard not to fight that. It's hard not to fight. But I can't.
It is.
But anyway,
We're fighting with you. We're fighting with you, Feisty. We're fighting for you, and we're fighting with you. And, we got you. And, I know it's overwhelming, and I don't ever want to bring people down every day. It's never my intention. These are just real emotions that we've all got to feel, right? We have to make sure that we're keeping our humanity, because without it, what's the point, right?
Yes.
These things bother us. These things bother us because they should bother us.
Sure.
If they stop bothering us, I talk about this, about desensitizing things, right? Or normalizing this kind of behavior. If we allow that to happen, then we've lost. And it's over.
Yeah.
It's just over. We have to keep fighting. We love you. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Take care.
You got it. Be safe out there. Feisty Georgia Peach. That's the point, guys, right? That's the point. We listen. I don't, like Obi, I don't really walk around with a lot of anger. It's just not my thing. I've become a bit more cynical as I've gotten older, and I don't like that feeling either, to be honest. What fuels me is the people that we're fighting for, right? We're fighting for marginalized communities. We're fighting for women. We're fighting for the disabled community. We're fighting for people who are struggling with life-threatening disease. We're fighting for people who have mental health disorders. We're fighting for people who have substance use disorder. We're fighting for houseless population, every marginalized community across the country, people that don't have voices, right? This is a privilege for me to do this every single day. This is a privilege, and I take it seriously. That's why I invest time. That's why it's emotional for me, because I want people to say, look, at this dude, I might not agree with him, but he's up there trying to do the work, trying to remind people what's at stake. And I'm hoping that it inspires others to do more of the same. I got broad shoulders. I can take a lot of this shit on. I've got spoons. There's days I don't. There's days that I don't. And I am so grateful for our little community my mods have carried the spoons for me on days when I couldn't. No doubt about it. And all of you have as well. This is what matters. This is what matters. It's us versus them. And if it's not us, then who? And if it's not now, then when? This is more than just a politics show, right? I know people tune in to get the news, and we cover the news, but this is about the real fucking shit that should matter. This is about what has to be important. And there are more of us than there are of them. Again, this goes back to do something. The entire spirit of this whole movement just came from this idea, this belief that I have. There's always something. Good call, Dano. This is a humanity show. I like that. There's always something that we can all do, right? It doesn't matter how big or how small. It doesn't matter, where you come from. Doesn't matter what your skills are. People think I don't know what I can do. Just engaging. Little things, right? I firmly believe, I believe that activism is a muscle, and you have to exercise it. And the more you exercise it, the better or the easier it becomes. This is going to happen. This is always going to happen. Always, right? Question is, what is your place? Where are you going to light that fire? right? Where are you going to insert yourself? Don't consider yourself an ally. That's not on you. A marginalized community are the ones that can tell you, give you permission to become an ally. They have to open up the invitation. Instead, choose to be an accomplice in the fight. Again, I'm at the pinnacle. The only box that I don't check is Christian. But a cis white hetero man in America, especially somebody in their 50s, I am at the pinnacle of privilege. And I want to use it. And that's my goal. Who knows what's going to happen, but that's my fucking goal. Because there's too many things that are more important to fight for than there's too many things that are too important that don't get fought for, so we're going to fight for it. One way or another. Thank you. Fly Girl, how are you today? Fly Girl, are you there?
Hey, I just wanted to share with, I'm here. How do I turn it on? Oh,
You're on. We can hear you. We can hear you.
On.
No, we can hear you. We got you. Just got to get a little bit closer to your microphone. That's okay. We can hear you. Just got to get a little bit closer to your phone, please.
Can you hear me now? No?
Yes, right there. Perfect.
Hi.
Yes. Hi. We got you.
Hi. Okay. So I'm not sure with
okay, so Fly Girl, I dropped you. Just please request again. Okay, there's a bad delay and it's really kind of a lag. So maybe get closer to your Wi-Fi or closer to your service, and then request up again, and then we can we'll have that conversation with you. Okay. Real quick, guys. The market opened down, but the Dow dropped 1,200 points pre-market. It opened down 160 points. Yeah. So there's that. You need to come in, buddy. Come on. Hi, doggy. Yeah, 47,000. But the Dow. That's great. And gas is up. Yeah, shocker. When you disrupt the Middle East like we've done a million fucking times, you wonder why that shit happens. You wonder. You wonder why. Let's try that again.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, gotcha. Stay right there.
Okay. So I wanted to share because it just broke my heart listening to a new father, the fathers, the mothers, and the girls out there. And the reason is because when I was in college, I had a stalker, and this man, I helped him one day in the computer room, and that was it. And this man started following me. He found out where I lived. He wrote me letters. He sent me flowers. He found out who my mother was and called my mother, and he had this delusional relationship with me, and he would follow me. I walked to school because that's what you do in college, and I could see him following me. But my mom sent me money for a restraining order, and I grew up in Wyoming. I'm a bit stubborn, so I would not change. I would not move. I would not change my phone number. I would not. I was like, this guy, I cannot let him intimidate me. And so I went out, and with my restraining order money, I bought a 38. I'm not sure I can say that. But the thing that helped me the most, and I think would help people to feel better, is I took a self-defense class. And the self-defense class was not only physically how you can protect yourself, but it was a whole lot about awareness of where you are. If you go to the grocery store, where you park in a lighted area, you do not park by vans. You do not park by something, where somebody could just reach out and grab you. When you go into the store and you go out of the store, it's awareness. You make sure that you are watching and there is nobody following you anyway, and you try to do it when there's a lot of people around. And, but they also, as a female, were not so strong as the males, but they also taught things that you can do. And I don't know if you want me to get graphic about this kind of stuff, but men have vulnerable areas too, like eyes, throat, kick knees, stuff like that. And the other thing they told me was you never, ever let them get you away from the public area. You have to do everything possible to keep that from happening, screaming, whatever you have to do. So, I just really recommend that for people, and don't leave these girls anywhere. Don't let them fly off with somebody you don't know by themselves when they're underage. I know you have to let go in college, but you can still, instill some, things for them to just be aware. And I don't mean to scare the bejesus out of them, because that isn't good either. They're there to study and learn and progress. But the only way I got away from this guy was when I graduated and I got a job in another state and I moved, and I didn't even tell the college where I was going. So, they're out there and you don't know who they are. Like I said, I was just being nice one day, and here I was. So that's really all I have to say. Okay.
Yeah, it's good advice. I appreciate you sharing that. Thanks for jumping in today, Fly Girl. Thank you for your kind words and good advice. Thanks for being here. I want to address the men. The fact that we have to have these conversations is the problem. Fellas, maybe if you just stopped raping women, stop being predators, stop assaulting women, stop beating women, then these conversations wouldn't be necessary. Maybe if you could consider doing that, that might help. The bar isn't really that high. Just stop raping women. Raise your sons to be better. You don't have to. This is why I'm an advocate for age-appropriate sex ed. I've always been an advocate for that. Start young. Proper names for body parts. Working your way all through elementary school, middle school, what consent is. Maybe if men could just stop being fucking predators, then we wouldn't have to have those conversations. Just a thought. Just a thought.
Hi.
Hey there, you're back.
Sorry, no, I was already up. I forgot to say one thing. So I'm a women's and gender studies major, and you started talking about misogyny a little bit. Fun fact, Wyoming was the first state and territory to give women the vote, and so they had the vote before 1890. And there was newspaper clippings at the time, and I think everyone should read that book. It's by Doris Weatherford. It talks about state by state, how we got the option to vote. And interestingly enough, a lot of those towns back then were kind of Wild West towns, like you'd imagine. When they gave women the right to vote there, politicians complained to the newspapers that they couldn't get reelected because previous to women voting, they could bribe men with alcohol and women from brothels that they owned to vote for them. And they couldn't bribe the women. And they were very upset because women were not bribable. And I thought that was interesting that was in newspapers back then. That what do we give the women? Because the women won't be bribed by alcohol and women.
What's the name of the book? You said it's a book, or what is it?
It's a book called Victory for the Vote. It's by Doris Weatherford. And it starts in the 1600s or so with colonies and goes through every time women tried to have a voice in society and what happened until we finally got the 19th Amendment passed.
And even then, it was probably just for white women. But I think that's a bigger point.
Yes.
But obviously.
Yes, that's an even bigger point. But it started out talking about what the colonizers thought about women having a say in the Native American societies, how they crushed that, how they felt about slavery. There was a fight between white women feminism in the early 1900s. They were mad that Black men got the right to vote first, so then they separated and divided Black versus white, which hurt the whole thing. But yeah, it's I loved that little thing in the newspapers because the politicians literally, without bribing men to vote for them, and women not being bribable, they didn't know what to do. Women were the ones at that time who got past the oh my God, age of consent laws. They got them raised. Men were mad about that, but more women came out to vote for that because it was about their children. Like, it was fascinating to see somehow politicians suddenly had to speak on issues that actually affected mostly children at the time, because women cared about the children and they couldn't be bribed with alcohol to not care.
Amazing. The lowest common denominator, men. Tell them they can't have their drinks and they can't go to the brothel. That explains a lot. Thanks for coming back up. I appreciate you very much. If you wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm going to go. But it's interesting to me that that's all it took back then to get a man's vote, was offer him alcohol at the pubs that you owned and offer him women at the brothels that you owned, because all the politicians were rich and owned all those places. That was all they needed.
Seems like that's still all they really need. Thanks for jumping back in. I appreciate you for being here. Thanks again.
I'm going now. Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye. Want to thank Joanne. Thank you so much for your kind contribution. Joanne, thank you for your $100 for being a great girl dad. Thank you, Joanne. That's very kind of you. I appreciate you very much. Also to Kate, thank you very much. Thank you for fighting. Thank you, Kate. Thank you for being here. Thank you for fighting along with us. Gigi, thank you so very much. You're very kind. The $5 train, the dollar train, and then Amy, thank you very much. You're so kind. I see you in the guest box. I want to bring you up right now. Good morning.
Morning. I know Obi was talking about being a girl dad. I'm a girl mom. And I have my granddaughter, my partner. Yesterday, when we went to see Maybe in the children's hospital, wore his shirt that says, "My favorite people call me Papa." And, you know, this community is gum on your shoe. And I'm so thankful. But we're scared that we're not going to have Maybe. They're checking her for MRSA now. We need some positive energy. We need healing energy sent to her. My daughter has been with her the whole time, and my daughter's losing faith. We're scared. We're financially tapped because it's an hour away. The children's hospital is. I know that, I know I love this community so much, and I have felt so much love in return. I just need y'all. Steve, I don't know what to say. I know you faced it as a parent.
Two things. We love you and your family. Probably more than you know, because that's kind of what we do, right? I know it's scary. I get it. I get it. I wish I could fix it. I can't fix it. What I can do is lean on our community to show you how much we love you. And whatever that looks like. But whatever that looks like. Whatever anybody can do. Just kindness, just love, just symbolic gestures in the chat. They may not feel like much, but sometimes that's all it takes. We see you, first of all, right? We see you. Now, we've known your family going back to before Christmas. We got to meet you then, and we can do more, potentially. So, again, you and I have been in contact. We text each other. That's always there for you. We do our weekly check-ins. That's always going to be there for you. Feels like it's not enough, but it's what we can do right now. What is the situation that you need the most help with at the moment?
We need help to be able to get back and forth to her. My partner and I, and of course my daughter's staying with her full time. We need help to be able to get back and forth to her. Financial help to be able to get back and forth to her. Trying to eat on the road.
Okay. Gas cards, rides, things like that.
Yeah.
We have your pay links that are in our Discord. We will we'll rally. We'll rally. I'll talk to my amazing team and we'll come up with a plan. We did it before. We put a little bit of light in your family's life around the holidays.
I feel so bad.
Amy Lee, look at me. Look at me. Do you trust me?
I do.
Okay. Then trust this, that don't ever, 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 ever apologize for being human. Because that's what we do. That's what we do. If I can do it, if I can be a blubbering fool up here, then we can all feel emotions. Right? We love you. That's what we do. That's who we are. I can't promise that I can't take the pain away. I can't do that. But we can shower you with love. And that's what we'll do.
Y'all, please send some positive energy.
We got you. We got you.
We can't miss our girl.
Tiff, I was just thinking the same thing. We have a friend of ours who works in social service programs. We will put you in contact with him. Okay. He might be able to troubleshoot. He might be able to kind of help you navigate certain things. Maybe there's other resources available, but allow us the honor of showing up for you. Okay. Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay. I'll check in with you later when the show's done and we'll strategize.
Okay.
Sound good?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you guys. I
Deep
love
breath.
the Thanks family.
Deep breath. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
You got it. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
People don't know I just hope none of your children ever get sick. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, Steve. Wow, that's ooh, Amy Lee, we're all here for you. Not just here, but there's plenty of us here that do our own lives and stuff too. That if you ever need to stop in, you're more than welcome. Now,
you're very kind. Thank you for saying that.
Don't say that. Shh, you're gonna ruin my reputation.
You're kind. You're not nice. You're kind. There's a difference. I learned that. I've learned that recently myself.
Gotcha. First off, happy Women's History Month.
Indeed.
You were talking a little, well, your previous guest had mentioned a little bit ago about what women go through on a daily. And when men come up and they say, well, we're the protectors, you need us. Well, who are you protecting us from? That's something, if it wasn't for men acting inappropriately and doing inappropriate things, would we need protection? But I want to spend this month celebrating women in leadership and those who have paved the way for us and the men who supported them too.
Hmm.
So, Steve, I would definitely put you in that category because you are a very uplifting person.
Thank you.
And you do a great job. And by the way, I love your nails.
Thank you, Mother Hen. I appreciate you. Mother Hen does a great live. I mean, you have really good conversations. You play great music. Gen X for the win, as we know.
Hell yeah.
And it's always a great spot. Sometimes I'm scrolling by when I'm working after the show is done, and you cheer me up. So, and I appreciate you being a fighter out there. For those of you who don't follow Mother Hen, please do so.
Thank you. Appreciate you. That's all I really wanted to say, hon.
I got you. Thanks for jumping in today. We love you. See you later.
Take care, all.
All right, bye. It's a great perspective. And like I said, we're going to be honoring women of history all month long, right? We have a Discord. You can find the link to our Discord that's in the link tree that's in my bio. So please consider joining us, because that's like the hub of our community. It's a pretty awesome spot. We love it over there. As long as I don't touch anything, because I probably will break it. There's a rule. Hi, T. How are you today?
Good morning, Facts. I just want to let you know I watch your show every day religiously, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Everything that you say, we like literally think the same. I mean, everything you say, I agree with. But I was calling for the lady that called maybe like 2 calls before you about that was crying that she had the granddaughter in the hospital, and I know everybody has their own beliefs. I'm a Christian, and despite a lot of what the right says that the left that we're all heathens, but I believe in God, and I prayed for her, and I'll continue to pray for her and her family. I just want her to know if she's still listening, and now I don't want to put a damper on things. I lost my son to cancer, and I know what she's going through, what they're all going through, and it's very difficult. But I'm here now because I made it through, and I had to pray about it. It took therapy, intensive therapy, and it also took drugs, medications.
Sure.
But I'm in a better place now. It's taken me a while, but I'm proud to say that I'm in a much better place. It's been 8 years. Maybe that's more than a lot of people. Maybe that's less than other people. Everybody grieves at their own pace, but that's not always the case. There are many cases where kids are strong and they can bounce back. And I just don't want them to lose faith. It's not over till the fat lady sings, like they say. It's not over till it's over. And if it is, and that's the way God wants things to be, everything will work out just fine. Everything will be fine.
I just want to clarify. I mean, for Emily's granddaughter she's struggling with her health, but she's not terminal. She's struggling with her health. I just want to make sure people understand that's a different circumstance. I'm incredibly sorry for your loss. I'm incredibly sorry for your loss. And no matter what everyone's faith is, I think anyone will take whatever they feel it would be necessary to help someone else, whether it be through prayer, whether it be whatever that might be. Just want to make sure that people understand that maybe is not terminal. Again, I'm incredibly sorry about your circumstance.
Thank you so much.
Especially when it comes to things like this. But I just want to make sure people knew that. And then if prayer is what you can offer her family, then we're all fully in support of that. So
I appreciate you for clarifying that, Steve. You said it better than I could. That's what I was trying to say. But yes. Yes. Thank you for that.
You got it.
And you have a wonderful day. Okay. And thank you.
Thank you, T. Thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate you. All right. Bye-bye. Whew. Real life shit, you guys. This is why we do this. This is real. These are the people that we're fighting for. This is how we're fighting. This is why we're fighting. This is why we get up every day. That's why we get up here every single day. Right? That's it. This is why I do it. You know, this is why I do it. This shit fucking matters. God damn. A broken healthcare system, and we're at war with Iran. You know, an economic system that benefits the billionaire class, and we're protecting predators. If we don't fucking call it out, who's going to? This is exactly, Joanna. This is real life. This is the shit. This is why they are desperate. They being the power, the people with power, the people with money, the people who have corruption in their sites, the people that are protecting predators. They want you exhausted. They want you emotionally drained. And some days I don't necessarily, I contribute to that, not intentionally, but these are conversations that are important. We do this because I need you in the fight. I need you in the fight. Cannot do it by myself. I need you voting. I need you volunteering in your community. I need you showing up for marginalized communities. I need you showing up for women. I need you showing up for the people who don't have voices. If you're a white man, I need you to use your fucking privilege. If you're a white woman, I need you to use yours. Everybody else has been fighting for us, white America. Everybody else, knowing full well that they're still not going to get a seat at the table. Yet we do it. They do it every single day. Right? Shouldn't be that complicated. Don't let it be that complicated. They are going to do everything they can. They're going to do everything they can to keep you quiet because they know in the past that you've been quiet. So they're using our own entitlement, our own apathy, our own unwillingness to put our hand up against us. All these stories that we've heard this morning, you know, a new father of a girl dad, Amy Lee's granddaughter suffering, families losing their children to cancer. And people can't get off their asses to vote or volunteer in their community or do something or help a neighbor, help a friend. We got to do better. We have to do better. We have no choice. We have to. This is your call to action. Eva, how are you? Eva?
I'm good. I don't know how I got on here. I'm sorry.
That's all good. It's no problem. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Okay. I'm just going to check in my mods. You guys good? Just want you guys to know something about my little mod, about our little mod family. We joke, but I'm just up here talking, right? They keep me sane. They really do. This entire community, they just like, they're the glue. Everybody has a little bit different roles. Some people monitor YouTube, some people monitor Twitch, some people monitor the chat. Some people make sure that I'm not saying stupid shit. Some people kick me in the shins on occasion. But we are in this fight together. I'm the one up here that can say you guys are the smartest chat on TikTok and tell you all how much I love you. But I don't think you understand how important this community is to them as well, right? They're incredible human beings, amazing human beings. And we're all grateful for that. I'm so lucky that they found me. They put up with my shit, with my freaking wild, crazy ideas. And they're incredible, and they got your back. They help you. They'll do whatever they can for you. They'll put pauses on their own lives to help you. We need more people like that. All of you. All of us. Everybody. All of us. We're all here for the fight. Y'all ready? Ready to buckle up? Ready to defend the rights of people? Ready to give voices to those who don't have it? All of you. We've said this before. 342 million of us are here at this particular moment in time. 260 or so registered voters. 90 million didn't show up the last time. This is the moment. It starts today. Primaries in Texas, primaries in Arkansas, primaries in North Carolina. I don't ask for much from y'all. Help support the channel, little things like that. I am asking, as we approach midterms, I am asking you, please get involved. Do something, whatever that might be. Please, at the absolute minimum, vote. Please, at the absolute minimum, help a neighbor. Volunteer in your community. Do something. Let me fix this. Completely lost my train of thought, but that's all right. $21 away from 5K. Maybe we can take care of that today. All right. Let me check on a couple other things here. Some other stories that I still want to cover as it relates to this. There was a rumor going around about Bibi's passing, that he was in Germany, that he left the country. I've not been able to confirm that anywhere. I do know that Kristi Noem is testifying right now. I don't really feel like covering her and listening to her bullshit at the moment. So if you feel like you need to leave to go watch that testimony, I'm sure somebody is streaming it someplace. I'm just not going to do that. But there's this interesting story from Jonathan Larson on Substack that I think that I want to share with you because I think it speaks to a lot of what we discuss in this space often. Hang on one sec. Okay. The title of the story is U.S. Troops are told the Iran war is for Armageddon and the return of Jesus. Advocacy group reports commanders giving similar messages at more than 30 installations at every branch of the military. Combat unit commander told non-commissioned officers at a briefing on Monday that the Iran war is part of God's plan and that President Trump was, quote, anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth, according to a complaint by a non-commissioned officer. From Saturday morning through Monday night, more than 110 similar complaints about commanders in every branch of the military have been logged by the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, or MRFF. The complaints come from more than 40 different units spread across at least 30 military installations, the MRFF told Jonathan Larson Monday night. The MRFF is keeping the complainants anonymous to prevent retribution by the Defense Department. The Pentagon did not immediately respond to this person's request for comment. One complainant identified themselves as a non-commissioned officer, or NCO, in a unit currently outside the Iran combat zone, but in ready support status, deployable at any time. The NCO said that they were Christian, and emailed the MRFF on behalf of 15 troops, including at least 11 Christians, 1 Muslim, 1 Jew. The NCO wrote to the MRFF that their commander, quote, urged us to tell our troops that this was all part of God's divine plan, and he specifically referenced numerous citations out of the book of Revelation referring to Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus. Defense Sec Pete Hegseth has enshrined evangelical Christianity at the uppermost levels of the U.S. military, airing monthly prayer meetings throughout the Pentagon. Last year, the Pentagon confirmed to me that Hegseth attends a weekly White House Bible study. It's led by a preacher who God commands America to support Israel. Monday's email from the NCO said their commander's remarks destroy morale and unit cohesion and are in violation of the oaths we swore to support, like those in the Constitution. MRFF president and founder Mikey Weinstein, a veteran of the Air Force and the Reagan White House, told me that since the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran early on Saturday, the MRFF has been inundated with similar complaints. These calls have one damn thing in freaking common. Our MRFF clients, service members who seek MRFF aid, report to the unrestricted euphoria of their commanders and command chains as to how this new, quote, biblically sanctioned war is clearly the undeniable sign of the expeditious approach of the fundamentalist Christian end times as vividly described in the New Testament book of Revelation. Many of their commanders are especially delighted with how graphic this battle will be, zeroing in on how bloody all of this must become in order to fulfill and be 100% accordance with fundamentalist Christians, their end of the world theories. Weinstein cited Constitutional and Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ, prohibitions against injecting religious beliefs into official military instruction or messaging. He said any military members seeking to advantage of their subordinates or to take advantage of their subordinates by advancing their blood-soaked Christian nationals' wet dreams upon the flames of this lasting congressionally sanctioned attack against Iran should be swiftly, aggressively, and visibly prosecuted. Weinstein added that the MRFF receives similar complaints about Christian theology, end-of-world theology, whenever this shit blows up with Israel in the Middle East. After October 7th, the H attack on the I-Country, for instance, the MRFF reported a complaint about an Air Force commander who said at a briefing that, quote, the war between Israel and the H group has all been foretold by the book of Revelations in the gospel of Jesus, and no one can do anything about that. After 9/11, George Bush referred to the American crusade against terrorism, evoking the ancient clashes between Christian crusaders and Muslims. Bush's language was seen as potentially inspiring Muslims to take up arms against the U.S. if it proclaimed itself a Christian army waging war on Islam. So there's that. You know, nothing to see here. L-Rock, how are you?
Hello, Facts. I talked to you last week when you were pretty much converting the guy named Mike, and that was my first time that ever coming up. And one thing I forgot to tell you because I was so nervous is I have one of the hardest, easiest jobs on earth. I teach AP government and politics. So imagine how I have to maneuver with students in how government is supposed to be set up and run as opposed to how it is now. And I have to censor myself a lot because I know how things are not running the way they're supposed to. It is. I have to work at it. I live in South Georgia, which my county voted 60-40 for Trump, so I kind of know who I'm dealing with and the parents who I'm dealing with. But I always tell my students, I say, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to give you straight facts, and I tell them the facts. Now, no, hopefully that won't get me in trouble, but I feel it is my responsibility to make sure that I'm teaching my students the way things are supposed to be as opposed to how they are.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. By the way, hearts in the chat. What do you teach, sir, if you don't mind me asking?
I teach AP government to ninth graders. AP government and politics to ninth graders. Yeah.
One of my absolute favorite classes that I ever took in my life. I learned a lot about politics from people like you who teach it. So first of all, thank you for that on behalf of all of us. And you at the moment can be the representative of teachers all across the country for doing the work. People in your profession not given nearly enough credit for what you do, what you have to deal with every single day. So thank you on behalf of us. I have a massive appreciation and regard for teachers being raised by one. So thank you, sir, for what you do. Thank you very, very much for what you do.
Oh, thank you. It is. I love what I do. Today we were discussing, just to let you know, we got to the SAVE Act, and I was explaining what it's going to do if that's something that gets passed to people who don't have all of whatever the documents that they need to, in case they need to get this whatever ID to vote. And we also discussed the Voting Rights Act, and in the topics that I'm supposed to teach, it basically is, the states that discriminated needed to go to the Department of Justice. And so then I had to temper that with, you know what, now they don't anymore because of a Supreme Court ruling. So we're in a difficult time that I have to maneuver how I teach what government used to be, how it's supposed to run, as opposed to how it's running now under this new administration.
So well said. I appreciate, again, what you do, and thank you for speaking truth to power. Hopefully that you more people can learn from your example. I would take your class again, like right now. Thank you for being here, friend. I appreciate you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for what you do. You have a great day.
Appreciate you. Back at you. Hearts in the chat for teachers. I need a brief break. I'll be right back.
End up leaning. You don't need a cape just to help someone win. Do something simple, do something true. We'll make a sandwich for a friend. We'll make a sandwich for a friend. Hold the door for someone too. Facts still matter. It starts with you. Check on your neighbor, share what you can do. One small action turns into a wave. Do something today, be the change that you crave. Facts still matter, it starts with you. Facts still matter, it starts with you.
I want to thank you, Kyung on YouTube for the super chat. Thank you for that note. I appreciate that. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you. Would love for you to come to Buffalo. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate you saying that. That's potentially part of our journey for sure. Am I? Sorry, Jess. I'm not gonna. I'll read it. Fine. Thank you, Jess, for I bet you have a nice butt, Steve. Thank you for that, Jess. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. That's okay. Mm-hmm. It's all right, I guess. Okay. Also, Ruby, Patricia, Robert, Judith again. Appreciate all of you. You're all incredibly kind. Yes, even you, Jess. You're kind too. Don't tell anybody I told you. Jesus. Michen. Well, I don't know what to pronounce. I don't know what to name you. What's your name?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. This was a misclick. I apologize.
No problem. No problem. Thanks for being here.
I tune into you daily, so thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. Hey, Drew. How are you?
Steve, you need to get the Hillary Clinton clip of her saying, "I do not object." Whenever somebody compliments you, you can just play that.
That's a good point. Real quick, Pamela, thank you very much. Stephanie, Amy, Janine, Brooke, thank you. Erica, thank you. Lori, thank you. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you all very, very much. We'll update our totals. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, Steve. I wasn't planning on coming up today, but yesterday you let me vent a little bit some of my anger, but I wanted to just come up and share a little bit of my joy today.
Sure.
And yeah, my 7-year-old started baseball last night for the very first time.
Nice.
Yeah, he's grown up. I always tell people he's grown up with old people. My wife and I are older parents. He spent most of his as a toddler, he spent most time with his grandparents and us, and not around a lot of children until he entered school. And this is the first time he's played any kind of organized sport. So his best friend's parents are coaching the team, and they hit me up and they said, "Listen, sign-up's closed, but we'd love for him to be on the team. What do you think?" So he's there, and he had a great time last night. Unfortunately, Steve, I will not be able to donate to you since we went on a shopping spree and got him everything he needed for baseball.
It's all good.
Have you?
Yeah, it's all good, bro.
Have you seen the price of baseball bats these days?
That's so
forget about gas.
true.
Baseball bats.
It's so true. It's funny. I still have a lot of my. I played baseball in college. I had aspirations back in the day, so I remember the Little League days well. It's a connection that I have to my dad and my mother. My mom was a scorekeeper. So good for you for getting him involved early. I appreciate that. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Thank you, buddy.
That's cool.
Thank you, buddy. It just warmed my heart to see him out there last night and having a great time.
Yeah, you're a good man, friend. I appreciate you jumping in today and telling us that story. We all
Thank
can
you,
use a
buddy.
little smile. Appreciate it.
Thanks
Have
as
a good
always,
day.
man.
Be safe out there.
You
You
too.
got it.
Bye.
We can use a little smile, Jess. Thank you. I just want to make sure I get everybody's name that in their kind notes. What? I don't know what that means. Hold on a second. Pamela, Summer Tour, thank you for all you do. You have my vote. Keep spreading the facts. Thank you, Pamela. It's very kind of you. Stephanie said, Stephanie, from Gravedigger and his wife. Thank you very much. Gravedigger does our intros. If you like the Do Something song, if you like the other intro song that we play for the show, hearts in the chat for Gravedigger for making those. Thank you for your kind contribution. Also, Amy, let me see if I can fix this. That's not working. What's going on there? Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Amy, for saying that. Janine, again, thank you for everything that we do here. Appreciate you very, very much for your kindness. Brooke, you don't need to do that. Thank you, Brooke. Appreciate you very much, friend. I always want to see that 5K number. We got that 5K number. Appreciate that. Erica, thank you, Erica. Read mine first. Love you. Keep doing all the good things, friend. Yes, thank you, friend, for being here every day. Erica, I appreciate you. Love Erica. Erica Shante, if you don't follow Erica, please do. Lori, also thank you, Lori, for your kindness. Appreciate you very, very much. So I got to do the math in my head. Hang on, give me a second here. Thank you guys for getting us to this next milestone. It's incredibly kind of you. There you go. Under review for what? Okay. Well, we hit our goal for the day. Flexible, are you there? Flexible? I guess not. Okay. I don't know why it's under review. It's just a new number. All right. Thank you, guys. Okay. Sorry. Got me all shook up. One other thing here that I've been meaning to cover this story, and there's really no good or bad time to cover it, but there's new reporting about an investigation is finally going to be going into the Zorro Ranch. The number is 5239, guys. That's the new number. For some reason, it won't post. It says it's under review. I don't know why it is, but that's the new number. So we're marking there. We're now a quarter of the way to our, well, a fifth of the way to our goal of 25K to hit the road. That's an all-in number. That's going to allow us to rent transportation, for me to fly particular events, registration fees, any additional equipment that I might need, all those kinds of things. So this is a community effort. Can't do it without you all, but that's a big milestone, and I'm so grateful that we hit it. Thanks to you all. I appreciate you very, very much. Ow. All right. So do we even want to get into this today? I don't. I'm not going to bother today. We've had a really good emotional day, and I don't really want to go down that particular road. So I think I'm gonna pass. I want to take this opportunity just real quickly to read folks again the push behind the Do Something tour, in case you haven't heard it. If you have, I apologize, but I think it's necessary so that I can just inform all of you of what it is specifically that I'm doing, and what it means, why it means what it means, and why I would love for you all to get involved. There's going to be all kinds of opportunities for folks to get involved one way or another, whether it be through your financial donations, your contributions, your support. But I'll just read it to you. So this is sort of the introduction. I want to start with something honest. A lot of people in this country are tired, not just busy tired, but I mean soul tired. Tired of working hard and feeling like they're falling behind, tired of watching the news and feeling powerless, tired of hearing promises every election season and then watching nothing change. And if you've ever felt that way, like your voice doesn't matter, or that your vote doesn't matter, that your voice doesn't count, I want you to know something. That you're not alone and you're not wrong for feeling that way. Because when you feel ignored long enough, you stop believing anyone is listening. And when you stop believing anyone is listening, you stop showing up. Here's what I've learned. The moment that good people stop showing up is the moment the wrong people take over the room. That's why we're doing the Do Something tour. Not because I've got all the answers, not because I'm here to tell anyone what to think, but because I believe we're losing something precious in this country, and that is our faith in each other. I'm going to be traveling the country to sit down with people who feel forgotten, people who feel dismissed, people who feel like the system is built for someone else. And I'm going to listen. I want to hear what broke your trust. I want to hear what you've lived through. I want to hear what you wish the people in power actually understood about your life. Because the truth is, democracy is not a speech. It's not a slogan. It's not something that happens once every 4 years. Democracy is people. It's parents trying to keep their kids safe. It's workers trying to keep food on the table. It's communities trying to stay whole. It's people who don't want to be a headline. They just want to be okay. I know this. If we want change, we can't just hope for it. We have to be a part of it. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm not asking you to know every issue. I'm not asking you to trust politics or politicians. I'm asking you to trust your own worth, to remember that your voice matters even if it's been ignored, to remember that your vote matters even if it felt like it hasn't, and to remember that your presence matters because this country belongs to you too. So this is my invitation. Come back in, not because the system deserves you, but because your community does. Your kids do. Your future does. This is the Do Something tour. And if you've ever felt powerless, I want you to hear me clearly. You still have power. So let's do something together. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Build your own community, Rory. You're right. Thank you, Brute. Okay, I think we'll wrap there. I think this is a good spot to stop. A lot of emotions today on our show, which is always the case, right? Which is good, which is really good, because it makes us feel real. Like, don't ever apologize for it. Don't ever say that I shouldn't have done that, or I'm sorry I got so upset, or whatever else. No, this is a safe space for that. We like it. And I always feel like these, like the bounce. Do we have an official statement here? What am I reading? Real quick, guys. Hang on one second. We'll get to it tomorrow. Again, thank you all for being here today. I don't know who's live, but the total is 5239. For some reason, I don't know what happened to the... There. It says under review, but I don't know why it would be under review. Let me just change it up a little bit. Here's the number. That's the number that we've raised so far. So yeah. Anyway, where was I? Just a reminder, friends, ask yourself what it is that you're voting for. Not who necessarily. It's what. Right? It's the what. It's the what is important to you. So in these conversations that I'm now having with people that are on the right? I mean, they're not exactly the most reachable voters, but we've had some opportunities to connect with folks. I remember Mike and Debbie last week in particular. I think I saw Mike in here earlier. These are the kinds of conversations that we have to have. If people are willing to listen, I'm willing to talk to anybody. That's the key. We had someone up here earlier who just is in the cult. They're just there. But at least the conversation was semi-respectful. They weren't slurring. They weren't dropping, racist bullshit and whatever else. There are conversations to be had. I got it. I'm willing to do it. I just need your help. I love you all very, very much. Let's go raid. Let's go raid Olive and Monica. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. They're good people. They're doing the fight too. So it's Mana, M-O-N-I-D-U-H, Monida, and Olive. Olive. Tell them we said hi. I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'm going to go to participate in town meeting. I'm going to have some pie. I'll report back. Texas, Arkansas, North Carolina. Big day for you. We're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot from today. We're going to learn a lot.